U7Buy provides the most convenient, fastest, and safest way to upgrade your team with numerous positive reviews and verified by top creators from different countries with 24/7 online customer support. Before the end of October, all users who place an order for FC26 coins on U7Buy for their first order of FC26 coins can enjoy a plus 10% coin bonus. Using my discount code Inception can get an additional 8% discount. Okay, guys, so we're finally going to be doing the initial thoughts video for FC26. We're going to do our best to try to talk about, like, all the mechanics that I possibly can, you know, the dribbling, defending, shooting, blah, blah, blah. This video might be long, obviously, because every time we do a discussion, most of the year is more of a rant video. You know, these videos kind of just go a little bit long-winded. It's kind of like a podcast for people to just know my thoughts towards the game. I think over the course of like 10 plus years, I think a lot of people are going to have like this predisposed opinion of me where I'm just going to hate the game every single year, right? I'm just going to be the guy that rants about it every single year. That's just going to be for them in their eyes, just my main content. All I do is rant. But that's just people that only stop by for rants videos and don't see the multitudes of content that I do elsewhere, right? That's just always going to be a thing with content creation, is that they'll just stop by for that, and then that's, in their mind, that's just going to be the main content that they see. Guys, I just want to make something very clear, and I'm just going to say this as the type of person that I am to you guys, right? If in those years, for 10 plus years, if I had to be the guy to kind of be like your boy, like a friend of yours, to slap you across the face, to wake you up, to all the trash that exists in this game, I'll be that guy, because I think a lot of things that exist within FIFA and FC over the course of these years, people just ignored because of addiction, right? I think addiction really, really drives your like towards this game, especially for last year's game for FC25. Because I've even had comments this year from some of the streams where people are already saying like, "Oh, I liked the beginning of FC25 more." I don't even want to talk to these people because they're not rage baiting. They're actually being dead serious when they say this. FC25, I'm not going to use the word depression, but I'm just going to use the word, it just made me really sad to have to play that game to try to push out content for it. It did. It made me really sad. Every time I did one player review and all I did was score the same goals over and over and over, and I wasn't like using any brain cells, because that's what that game was. It was a brain dead game, right? Wasn't using any brain cells. That thing in my mind that, like, because you guys know how I view attacking AI, that thing in my mind that just makes it like click, you know. Last year was just a catastrophe, right? And that's why EA did a lot of changes this year that went more in a positive direction, and then some things are negative, and we'll be talking about all those things. But just know that if I had to be that guy to tell you what I thoroughly believe in when it comes to how passing should work, how shooting should work, how you have to, EA, and I think they did it this year, to be honest, EA has to grab the rat community of this game, put it down on the floor and stomp on it, okay? That's what they had to do for a lot of these mechanics, because a lot of the mechanics, they just had to logically make sense from a video game perspective, okay? Because let's make something very clear. You're never going to make everyone absolutely like this game. It's not possible. But what you can do is raise the average percentage of enjoyment for a lot of people from core mechanics, making it better and whatnot, okay? So they had to. They had to do that, because for me personally, you know, when I do rants videos and people are mainly seeing it from the main YouTube channel, from the main guys that watch the content, it's more of a positive outcome nowadays than it was in the past. You know, inconsistent gameplay, when I used to bring it up, people used to think I was crazy. They made Reddit and forum posts about me saying that I was a nuisance to the community. Why do I complain about the game every single year? If I have to fight against these types of people that are blind and borderline get offended, right, over a video game that they like, that they're addicted to, especially for last year, I'll fight against you. I don't care, right? If I have to be that guy, I'll be that guy, okay? Okay, so let's talk about a lot of things for this game, right? Optimization, passing, shooting, blah, 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 right? Okay, so let's talk about the optimization first. That is where I had a lot of issues. A lot, man. The PC optimization for this game, even Nintendo Switch, because the Nintendo Switch did raise their resolution for like multiple games, but for some reason FC still runs at 30 FPS. They need to raise that to 60 at the very least. But optimization for this game is really, 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 really poorly done on multiple platforms. First of all, the fact that the game is not at 120 FPS minimum for FC nowadays is embarrassing. We do need to mention that. It's very important to mention. Just remember that that is not the reason why your core gameplay is going to be good or bad, okay? Because you still have inconsistent gameplay, which we will talk about as well. But optimization for this game is so poor. The PC version, I made the video showing you guys how you want to do your best to utilize your GPU over your CPU as much as possible. And the reason being for that is because that is how most games work, right? Some games will be more CPU intensive, some games will be more GPU intensive, but for the balance of having smoothness and having like good graphics and responsiveness, that's generally where you want to be at, right? And it's really important to mention this because I want to show you guys where the GPU and CPU is for a game like FC compared to how it is in different games. And we're going to talk about the resolution and FPS that you generally need to be at in order to play this game properly at a consistent basis, right? With inconsistent gameplay being a main thing, because it's still a thing, okay? Okay, guys, so what I have brought up on the screen is basically the GPU and the CPU usage for this game, right? So I'm going to show you the setting that is the most optimized way to play the game. If you guys watched Crassy's video for the PC settings, right? And this I have to adjust as well, just to be like, I think it's like medium and then high on grass quality, something like that, right? But if you watch Crassy's video is the absolute best way to play the game. But I would say with an FPS cap, it could be 240, it could be 280, right? But you have to generally be like that to get smoothness and responsiveness out of the game, while considering, because you do the testing both online and offline. You guys know how inconsistent gameplay works nowadays. I've been talking about it for 10 plus years, okay? In order for you to get smoothness, and then you don't have to think about anything else and what you have to do to fix this and that, right? It's literally, the fix is 1440p, 360 hertz, 240 FPS cap, no G-Sync, no V-Sync. That's where you will get the most consistency out of the game. But I want to show you guys something when it comes to EA games that they generally have a problem with sometimes when you're playing them, and it's easier to fix in other games than it is for this one. But let me just show you guys for this one. What I do, and I had to do this for 3 days. I wasted a lot of time trying to figure this out for a 4K display, right? But it would be the same thing if I was using a 1080p monitor. I want you guys to take a look at something when you're in the game, and I want you to understand where the GPU usage is and where the CPU usage is, right? So if the game is played out, look at how close the GPU and CPU usage is when I'm playing the game at the perfect part, right? The 1440p, the 360 hertz, and then the FPS cap. This is the only way you can play the game, whether it's a 240 FPS cap, whether it's a 280 FPS cap, but it's the resolution, it's the hertz, it's the perfect area, because for this game, right, for some reason, when your CPU and GPU is this close, this is where it's the most optimized. This is generally not really how it works for video games, guys. For video games, you want your GPU to be higher than your CPU, because the difference between Crassy's video and my video is that Crassy is going to show you, and shout out to him because he helped me a lot through the Twitter DMs. Big ups to him, right? But Crassy's video is going to show you the optimized setup for his setup. You guys don't have 1440p, that don't have 360 hertz. You have to work with 1080p. You have to work with 4K if you're on a 4K display at 144 hertz, right? If you guys are on those displays, that's where it's like, oh, you're going to have to try your best to get your GPU a little bit higher, or because this game is stupid, right? When it comes to the optimization, you literally have to do the same thing like you see here, where your GPU and your CPU usage is close to each other, right? Now, I want to show you guys an example of some other games, right? And this is why Craftsy increases the graphics in certain areas so that the GPU is probably like more equal to the CPU or just above the CPU so that you don't get CPU bottleneck. EA games have a huge issue with CPU bottleneck where I was personally experiencing the same thing on Battlefield. The difference, however, is that on Battlefield, they have way more graphical settings for you to work with in order for you to get consistent gameplay. So you can raise your GPU usage to be much higher so that you do not have a CPU bottleneck. The Battlefield 6 experience was really poor initially for a lot of people because they did not know that. They did not know that their CPU usage was significantly higher than their GPU usage. And that's what I had to do as well. The first beta was bugged because I had to turn on the EA app overlay in order for me to not stutter, which first of all was super weird because I was playing with Nick and I was telling Nick, I'm like, Nick, I literally can't play the game right now, right? Because I was just stuttering the entire time. But in the first beta, you had to turn on the overlay, which is unheard of because the overlay technically affects your FPS in a negative way most of the times, right? But that's what I did and it fixed it. And then the second beta came out and that was no longer the fix. The fix was changing my graphic settings for my setup to make sure that my GPU is being utilized more than my CPU, and then I can play the game properly, right? So in Battlefield, it's easier to fix that. So I want to show you guys something, right? This is just an example of like playing FC, right? But I want to show you guys some other games. And for the record, you guys can see that when we're in the menus, you see how much the GPU is considered, you see how big the GPU is compared to the CPU. That's why no matter like what setting you have, when it comes to gameplay stuff, you're going to see that your menus are super smooth, right? But I just want to show you guys these other games because I'm downloading like Fortnite and Marvel Rivals just like as an example, right? Okay, so it's already downloaded, right? You can see in the menus, your GPU usage is being fully utilized at 93%, and then your CPU usage is at 38%. Kind of similar to FC, right? But FC, I think it was at like, what was it, like 70, 80 in the menus and then 30 in the CPU part, right? Okay, so what we'll do here is we're going to go into the practice arena, right? And we're just going to load that up. And it's just going to load the settings that it wants to load up, right? So this is what it looks like. The first time I'm playing on this monitor for this, and this looks fantastic. But anyways, we'll choose Hella, right? Okay, so we'll go over here with Hella, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I want you guys to notice something, right? As the gameplay is going down, and I want you to see the FPS because of the 1440p. This is why when you get a 1440p monitor, like I got a 481 because it's very difficult to get 360 in Canada, so I just had to go a little bit overkill just to be able to play these games anyways, right? But you'll see here that your GPU usage is significantly higher to your CPU usage, right? And I have a really good GPU. It's a 5080, right? So in regards to tiers, it's 5090, 4090, and then 5080, right? I think if you overclock your 5080, like maybe it'll perform better than the 4090, but I don't bother doing that. So I don't want to like mess with the GPU like that. But the GPU usage and utilization is at 94%, right? If I go into my settings and I show you my graphics settings, just as an example, and I go all the way down, you're going to see it's the same exact situation where I put everything on low, no problems there. And then I don't have to like, you know, do an FPS cap or anything like that. But you can see that my FPS average on this game is like 300 and I wouldn't say 43 because that was mainly when I was in the menus, right? It's probably going to be averaged out at like 330, 326, 321, like that sort of area, right? So let's just say, for instance, I were to do the same thing as I did in FIFA, where I do an FPS cap, right? So let's say I were to do 240 and then I applied that into the game, right? You could see that with the 240 FPS cap, that's where it gets similar to FC when it comes to being in the menus, right? But look at how the game is being more GPU intensive compared to the CPU intensive, right? So it's at 70%, 30%. So if I wanted to do an FPS cap because I'm playing on 240 hertz or whatever, I could do that. But for these games, honestly, I've played these games at 144 hertz and I can play at like 240 frames at 4K and I didn't have any issues, right? And that's with NVIDIA DLSS on, right? So again, that's with an FPS cap, but you can see the key thing here, right, is that you are getting more GPU usage and less CPU usage, right? So it's a GPU intensive game, and that's where you're gonna find the most balance. So let's go ahead and try out Fortnite next. Yeah, so you can already see the GPU usage is going to 94% already, right? And we'll do the same thing with the whole like FPS cap situation. game's actually utilizing the CPU a little bit. It might be still preloading the shaders as well because the game kind of works that way. Again, I apologize for it being kind of buggy for this game, but yeah, so I just need to land over here to the right side. There's a guy actually here. But I just want to be in the game, right? Just want to be in the game. Okay. So we'll just chill over here. So now that the game is settled, right? You can see that my GPU usage is at 94% and my CPU usage is at 50%, right? So again, let's do a similar situation to FIFA because when your FPS is capped, your GPU utilization gets lower, right? So we're going to do this. We're going to go back to 240, just as an example. We're going to apply that and we're going to back out. Now, you're going to see the GPU usage is now at 64%, 62%. But my CPU usage, you can see, is 34%. So you're still getting more GPU usage than your CPU usage, right? And again, guys, I'm not a computer whiz. I've just done a lot of research for optimization on games. I don't even know if what I'm saying is 100% accurate, but from the stuff that I have seen online from people optimizing games, it's so fast for me to optimize games nowadays because of all the research I've done for FC, right? And that one video that the guy made for Battlefield telling people that the game has a CPU bottlenecking issue, right? From what I've seen from people, you want to be able to have more GPU utilization over CPU utilization because if you have more CPU utilization, that's where you're going to have problems in your game, right? But you're going to see these are not close. 65%, 38% on an FPS cap, right? And then without the FPS cap, which is what you wish you could be able to do on FC, but I stutter if I don't do an FPS cap, right? Apply that at unlimited, and you're back to where you're supposed to be with video games, right? 94%. If I go and play the game right now, as you guys are watching it, like this is smooth, right? Maybe not as smooth for you guys in the recording because I'm playing at a much higher FPS compared to my recording being at 60. So sometimes if you record natively at 60, like if I'm playing a Nintendo Switch game, for instance, like it's more smoother for you guys to actually watch, right? But again, the GPU utilization here, 87%, 90%, and CPU is at 52, right? So for me, when it comes to like FC specifically, right, it has a huge issue when it comes to the GPU and CPU utilization. It's way too close to each other. When you have to play it at a specific optimized setting, that's definitely AI for sure. Maybe not. Nah, he ran away. I'm pretty sure it is, right? But this is how games are generally supposed to be played, right? Like this game, dude, all I have to do, right, is press start, go into the menus, go into the graphics, and then I can literally myself test it and just put everything low, certain things to high, see where my GPU usage is at, see if my temperatures are nice, right? Like my CPU being at 74 is fine, right? And I'm chilling, right? I could play the game, pick up a shotgun, blah, 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 play the game. No problems, right? I don't have to spend hours trying to optimize the game, which is, where you generally want to be at, right? So I just wanted to show that as an example, right? That these games that you play, that's normally how it is. You just get more GPU utilization over the CPU. Even if I'm doing an FPS cap, they're not close to each other. They're still like 20% difference from each other, right? Okay, so this is how we're going to set it up because I didn't know it was in the bottom side right here. So I had it set to 130 something before because I was playing on 144 hertz just for Call of Duty. But we'll do a custom frame rate limit at 240. You could do the menu. This is really cool, by the way, so that you're not utilizing so much stuff in the menus. You could do 120 in that. But yeah, gameplay we'll do at 240. We'll customize it like this. And we'll just play it at 240 just to see where the GPU and CPU usage is at. Wow, it's been a while since I played this game. My goodness. Been a minute. But yeah, 240. Look, GPU usage, 76. 49. This thing looks incredible, by the way. My goodness, this looks so good. This looks so good, dude. Anyways, yeah, 8755, right? And the FPS is at 240. Oh, wow, it actually... so it actually goes around that area, maybe. Let's see what we could do when we uncap it here. Unlimited. Apply that. All right, let's see where it goes to. Yeah, so if I was playing on like 360 hertz... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 360, I'm telling you, is like the area. 360 is the hot spot for games, dude. Oh, but look, it goes to 380. Look at that. But like, again, right? Like, look at how smooth the game is, right? Look at how smooth the game is. GPU usage is where it's supposed to be. CPU usage, significantly lower, right? I'm gonna be awful at this game, but oh my goodness, can't even get the roof there. Oh, that dude is already healing himself. Did you guys hear that? Almost killed me, actually. Lol. Yeah, we're definitely gonna die there. But again, we don't even need to show the gameplay, right? 97% usage, 50% CPU usage. When we capped the FPS, it was still higher GPU over CPU, right? So my prediction for what this game is, or the things that the game needs, it's not far off, right? That's how most games are, where they utilize the GPU more than the CPU when you're in the gameplay part of the game. I'm so happy about this monitor, by the way, with this computer. Like, bro, these games are sick to play now. But it's just FC, right? The optimization for the PC version of the game is just, it's going to give you problems, right? When you're trying out different resolutions and hertz. And don't get me wrong, when I'm trying to teach people how you can utilize your GPU more, it's going to fix some of your settings. For some of you guys, you're going to play at, you know, let's say you're playing at 144 hertz, and then you have to cap your FPS to 120 or whatever, but you're capping your FPS so low. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to be able to play it to what your computer wants you to be able to play at. You guys get what I'm saying? But it's just weird. In FIFA, for some reason, that area is the hotspot. It's the 1440p, the 240 FPS cap, the 360 hertz part. For some reason, that's where it needs to be for it to play properly, right? And that's with inconsistent gameplay being taken into consideration too. So yeah, that's just like the optimization side of the game. I'm almost scared to tell EA, like, hey guys, you should probably look into this, because I really, really don't trust them to optimize it properly, because it's been like this for a very, very long time for the PC version of the game. It really has been. And I really think that this general cutoff with raising your resolution to be at a really good area, to have a decent FPS, to have decent hertz and all that kind of stuff, like, that's just where it is for FC. Because like, even when I asked a gameplay dev what settings a person that was near him was using, he told me he put like 120 FPS cap. And I'm like, but you don't want to have, well, that was for last year, because the game's different now. It has a native 240 FPS cap now, right? But you don't want to have to do that. You don't want to have to play at 120 when you have the capability at playing at a higher refresh or higher frame rate, right? Like that guy saying, like, yeah, use G-Sync and V-Sync on. Okay, if it's on, it's going to go to 144. And if it's on, it messes with the gameplay, because the inconsistent gameplay and that setting, like I said earlier, it messes with each other. And then you have G-Sync on with V-Sync off, right? And then you have the latency mode, I think he said, to on, which I tried everything, okay? Everything. And even that just gives issues, right? So to the performance of your PC. That's why I made my video. That's, like I said, Crassi's just feels like the most optimized. That area seems to be the best. I made my video to help out for different setups, right? Because I'm trying to make you guys utilize your GPU more while playing at decent FPS compared to your monitor's refresh rates and all that kind of stuff, so that you can be able to play the game as much as possible. Like, I'm trying to teach you what you need to be looking for your system, right? But if you, and again, you have to spend so much money, right? If you were to do this, if you just want to have like no stress and not have to think about optimization that much, it's literally 1440, 360, 240 FPS, no G-Sync, no V-Sync. And then like, just for consistency, don't get me wrong, there could be certain things that make it even better, like where it's like you have G-Sync on and then you turn off V-Sync, but then you're playing at that same resolution and you're still fine. Yeah, 100% that could still be the case. But I'm telling you guys, at that area, because of the experience that I have with inconsistent gameplay in particular, that area is the best area, because I'm playing in the bad gameplay now, and then at nighttime it turns into good gameplay with the exact same settings, okay? But I'm just dealing with that. I'm not dealing with stutters and inconsistent gameplay, which is even worse. That's what I was dealing with initially in my first 2 drafts. I couldn't play the game properly, and then, you know, the hackers and all that kind of stuff afterwards, but we'll talk about that. But this part of the video, it had to be mentioned, like telling the devs basically like, hey man, like, this is just how games normally are. Why can't it just be like this in this game too, where like you just have more utilization in certain areas for the game to be optimized properly? But again, I almost want to tell the devs, because I know one of them will watch for sure. I almost want to tell you just like to not touch it, because I'm not joking. I found the setting. This has been stressing me out for such a long time. And if you guys do touch something, you might screw it up, because last year you guys dropped a patch 1 month or 2 months into the game for the optimization of PC, and it screwed it up for the rest of the year. Because I found the setting in the beginning, and then it screwed it up for the rest of it. I don't know what you did. I don't know if it was from your anti-cheat folder, whatever it is. That's why I almost want you guys to not touch it, because I don't trust you to actually optimize it properly. Now, at least for me, now that I found the setting, to be honest with you guys, because oh my goodness, for everybody else, you're gonna have to do, oh, if I'm playing 1080p at 144 hertz, I have to try on with G-Sync and V-Sync on so that my game is smooth, but am I going to get proper latency? Oh, but if I play at 3 FPS cap with those two on, then my latency should be good as well. Like, you have to try out those things. That's why all of those suggestions were mentioned to you guys in that video for the one that I made, right? But that's optimization done. I just needed to bring that up because it was the thing that was like basically stressing me out the most. It really was. Which I'm still going to do. It might be the video before this or after this, right? It just depends on when I schedule these things. We go to learn to play. We go to practice arena. I want to see something now. I'm curious. Because I am now playing the game before content release on a Friday. So you guys know how it is with this game. It's not just a server thing. The coding is just all messed up, right? We'll go into practice match. Let me just see what this feels like just for a second. This is good gameplay. Yeah, that's sharp. Let me, I'm just curious because I don't know why it does this. So if I'm in practice arena and it does that. Yeah, so the online, it has a little bit of a difference, but this still feels good. Like I said, like we're gonna talk about this for this year's game with it when it comes to the quote unquote bad gameplay. I wouldn't even consider this bad, to be honest with you guys. But yeah, you could tell it's a little bit like off in comparison now to the off, like the sharpness. You can even see with the way that the players are like touching the ball and stuff. Like you guys saw the practice arena, how sharp that was. Like it's not the same thing, right? Over there, I actually try to make the pass upwards, but my thumbstick was timed incorrectly. But if this is like the gameplay, right, and how it feels, like I'm okay with where this is at right now. Like where this is at is still, like I'm okay with this, you know? Oh, that shot cancel came off fast, holy. Beauty. That's the point though, right? Like all this is fine. Like this feels fine. If this was my gameplay online, I'd be okay with this. But that sharpness is not the same as a practice arena. Just letting you know. That's what we do though. We just leave the games and whatever. We just use seasons to kind of like test things, right? So again, I'm just trying to like check off every area because I know the devs watch, so it's important to talk about every area as much as possible. Like I kind of want explanations from the one guy as well to explain why things may feel a certain way and others, right? But yeah, that's talking about the inconsistent gameplay side of things. Now, the one thing that I want to say about the inconsistent gameplay in this year's game, and again, this is coming from a perspective of someone that's playing on the PC version, not the console. I don't even want to bother with the console version of the game, unfortunately, for most of the people, right? Because that's what most people play on. But bad gameplay in this game for the PC version doesn't feel that bad. You guys remember in previous rant videos, right? Every single time I brought up inconsistent gameplay, for me, I'm like, brother, because you play on the bad gameplay the most, your game sucks by default. And in theory, for this one, it would be the exact same thing, right? More specifically for the console because of the past of me playing on the console more than the PC. So that inconsistent gameplay part still existing for the console specifically will probably still make your game garbage. But I'm going to talk about it from a perspective from the PC and finding the setting that worked for us to be able to play the game, okay? I want to talk about this specifically. Because of these two mechanics that I used to mention every single year for the rant videos, these two mechanics, right? Because you made, by default, the core mechanic of the player's dribbling, left stick wise, we're not talking about the R1 stuff, right? The left stick wise, because you made that part more responsive, and because you made the tackle animations better, when you play in bad gameplay in the game nowadays, from the PC perspective, the game still feels nice to play. And this, for me, is the first time that I can confidently say this for the last 10 years. 100%. You give me bad gameplay in any of the FC games, any of the FIFA games that I'll play, they're all garbage. Okay? But because you specifically changed those two core mechanics that we asked for years, possession-based challenges, left stick dribbling feeling more responsive. The left stick part being more responsive is massive because it's like you're playing in good gameplay of the past, but it's being way more compensated for the game now. And then that practice arena sharpness that happens, I guess, later at night or whatever for the online, that is even better, right? Because even when you're defending and you're choosing the person and then transitioning with them afterwards, more specifically when the gameplay is good, it just feels better. Because there is like a core mechanic in the game this year where they want to make your jockey feel worse. But guys, when we're judging defending, remember, we don't have full meta players. We don't have Nuno Mendes, Pacho, I guess Hakimi. I don't even know who the other center back would be, but we don't have those guys yet to play the game consistently. So it's hard to judge in that sense, right? But I'm talking specifically about the defensive animations, the tackling system. Guys, I can say with my entire heart, I've played this game for a long time. The defending tackling system for slide tackles, for standing tackles, and even sometimes, I would say that this part specifically is at like 60%, which is still pretty good. It could be higher because of these through balls being crazy. We're going to talk about that too. The cursor defending for the interceptions as well. You guys did such a good job with that this year. That specifically, you did such a good job. And when I'm playing in this gameplay, I feel so much more relief compared to previous years. So much more relief. That part is not constantly battling inside my mind when I'm playing your game now. That's the part that used to stress me out the most whenever I touch this game. That's the part that used to drain my mental battery all the way down to 0% complete depletion, okay? Those two mechanics that you changed, I know I'm repeating myself, it makes this game way more fun to play. Because if my gameplay is bad, the game still feels good to play. Because those two mechanics are significantly better. So really, really, really big parts that they did that, okay? Really big parts. I needed to mention that because, again, when you play this, it just feels significantly better, okay? We do have to talk about the problems for the PC just for two things specifically, and we'll do these as like quick little clips. You need to fix the issue with the controller constantly disconnecting on your PC. I have already lost tournaments from it, from the other guy's account from Jekyll, right? I lost a thing from that. I've lost a draft because of controller disconnect, right? And you're losing my FIFA points because of stuff like that, right? Like I said, guys, I was stressing like crazy in the beginning, right? Because controller disconnecting, couldn't play drafts because of that, and because of hackers. You guys have this new kernel level anti-cheat. Where, buddy? I try, bro. Let me show you guys a clip. Okay, so for this one, we're just gonna do a face cam overlay for the video because I do a lot of swearing in this one. Just, you know, basically roasting people because like people buy games and they cheat and it's just cringe, right? Like it's the same if you play Call of Duty, it's the same if you play FIFA, it's the same everywhere, right? But I was gonna make a separate video for this specifically, but we're just gonna add this into the initial thoughts video for this game. So basically the guy's hacking, right? So every single person is being controlled. And you can't do anything. You're going to lose, right? So I've had this already happen to me twice on the game. And the guy's horrible. He doesn't even know the shooting angles properly. He's shooting with his left foot, a power shot across goal. Like, you know, I was doing everything. I was trying to Alt-Tab. I was trying to escape. I was trying to press the Windows button. They literally, the hacks, it accesses your keyboard, your mouse. You can't do anything. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, because I play on the PC version of this game and because I know and understand that EA is probably never gonna fix this issue for the PC version of the game, which I don't care about. I just learned to deal with it, right? But it's just cringe that people do it, of course. For me personally, I was actually thinking about getting like an Ethernet switch on Amazon. It's like $10, right? Where I'm going to have it on my desk. I was thinking about doing this, but I don't know if I'm this serious because the guy's going to win anyways. I'm going to get the loss anyway. So it's just a waste of time, right? But it's more like the thing where it's like, you're going to get the win, but I'm going to waste your time because you're not going to get the win, I think. Because I think if I disconnect, I don't know if he gets the win for this game this year. I don't know if it works that way yet, right? But I would switch the Ethernet ports once I see that he's hacking in the beginning, and then it would disconnect me from the match. And then obviously the guy can't win after that, potentially. I don't know, right? But I think that's just me like going too far, because I'm gonna do the same thing anyways, where I'm gonna lose, he's gonna win, he's still gonna win from somebody else anyways. I'm just gonna win. It's that feeling of wanting to waste his time from being a little rat, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was the thing situation there, right? So I've lost drafts because of that, right? Because of hackers. I've lost it because of the controller disconnecting, right? So I've maybe been able to play a proper draft twice, and it was the third one where we won, and then the second one we hit the finals with a horrible midfield and center backs, like for the draft, because it's really difficult to play draft because of how fast and how effective these through passes are. But yeah, that was like the main one. My fifth one, that's where the guy hacked, bro. I had a crazy draft team. I think I could have blitzed in this draft because I got Maradona, Cruyff, Mbappe, Ruud Gullit. Like, bro, the first two games were the quickest rage quits ever. It was genuinely unfair that I faced people with those players. Honestly, it was because it was 4-2-1-3 and everything. It was insane, right? But yeah, for me, I would still rather deal with that than to deal with the gameplay inconsistencies that can potentially come with the console version. If I play Foot Champs and 5 hackers face me in Foot Champs, I don't care. I don't care. I'm going to do my Foot Champs games, and I'm going to continue to do my content, you know? But that's another thing that, you know, they got to fix. They're probably not going to, because they did this whole like kernel level anti-cheat this year, and you're still facing these sort of people, right? So yeah, that's bringing up some of the PC issues. There's also other issues where I think people from North America, I forget which coast it was. It was the West Coast or the South Coast, where these guys actually didn't have any access to the game at all, right? So they bought the Ultimate Edition of the game to get the early access, and the entire time they were unable to play it. If I were you guys, that would have been a straight return. Imagine me being a content creator and I live in a specific place in America and I literally don't have access to the game at all. That would be insane. Like, that would genuinely be insane. There's still some other issues as well, and I'm always going to bring it up because obviously I try to help people out from like the different continents as well. I have homies from Africa, homies from Asia that just don't have good servers at all, right? And I think for you guys, I'm not gonna lie, you might have to do some sort of like VPN setup where like you connect to like a different server just to lower your ping as much as possible. Try to get it to like 50, 60, 70, or just as low as possible. But other than that, like, you're probably not going to be able to play this game either if your ping is that high, to be honest. Like you saw, I was just playing on a game for 44 ping. If you could get it there, that's fine. But my average for Ultimate Team is 26. Like, that's usually what I get. I think for Nick, like, he gets like 9. I don't know how he gets 9 because he's from New York. So I don't know how he's connecting at a 9 ping. But honestly, I don't know if there's like a massive difference between 9 and 26, but I think you would notice 9 and 26 more if you play a game like Fortnite and like trying to steal a person's build more than it is for FIFA, to be honest with you. I think when you're 26 to 44, maybe you notice it a little bit more, but 26 for me has been okay. Last year it wasn't. When the game switched me from 24 to 26, I noticed that difference right away for 26 not being good. So I don't know what servers it's connecting me to, but that's just kind of like how that works too. So yeah, I just wanted to bring up some of the server issues in regards to that as well, because again, we're trying to bring up everything as much as possible, right? Okay, so long video, right? We're probably 40 minutes into it, talking about certain things that are important to mention, but it's more so like if EA wants to fix those things or not, right? Okay, so the next thing to talk about, right, is going to be the core gameplay of this game, right? So I will say that on a personal level, right, for me, this is the most enjoyable FIFA/FC to play for the new gen, or for any gen version of FIFA since FIFA 15, right? Now, remember that because of my thoughts towards the game before, it's not saying that much, because I think that people, when they play this sort of game, right, I think they think in nostalgic ways, right, where they're like, oh, I love 16, I love 17, I love 18, I think all these games are trash. All of them. I think they were all garbage. I think if you played in bad gameplay in any of them, and again, this is me playing on the console version of the game, right? Because that's the difference here, is that I'm playing on the PC now. I think they were all garbage. So like coming from me in regards to that, you have to be careful with. But even if I were to set that aside, right? And I'm just giving you my experience off of my current situation, I wouldn't look at it only in that way. I would have told you that you should have, but for this year, no, I don't think so. I think for me, it does feel like an enjoyable game to play. Finally, for me, the game was not enjoyable for 10 years. I ranted about the game every single year because it was not enjoyable. The core mechanics sucked, and the way that you had to deal with the core mechanics to deal with the bad and good gameplay was horrible, right? But again, as I was mentioning earlier, because they fixed the tackle animations finally, even though we asked for it years and years ago, because they finally fixed it because of how horrible FC25 was. That's the only reason why you guys even did all this, right? Because they fixed it and it's more possession based now for tackling and the ball goes back to you, blah, 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 right? You could even watch my review when I was reviewing Chuck, when I lost possession of the ball. And I'm like, good. You see how I made a bad dribble decision and he receives possession of the ball and he transitions forward and the other guy goes forward as well? That's how it should be. And that's how it is, I would say, a good 80% of the times in this game, right? And that's where it needs to be. Even in the past, when I used to talk about possession-based tackles, I used to always say, it doesn't need to be 100%, but it needs to be around 85, you know? Around that general area. You'll probably see it in like the old rant videos, like 19, 20, maybe like those types of videos, right? Where we talk about like the possession-based challenges. So the game is more enjoyable to play. For me, when I streamed it, when I used to stream it in FIFA 17 and I played Foot Champs, when I ended my stream, guys, I felt anxious. I felt my body feel weird. My head felt weird. My whole body felt weird because I genuinely disliked the game. And this, again, I always have to mention this because people are result ricks when it comes to stuff, right? This is coming off of getting top 100 in that game the first month that the first year that they released Foot Champs. I stopped playing the game consistently because I don't care about the results. I care about the experience, and the experience was garbage. So I felt horrible. Brother, I just did like 2 10-hour streams. The last 10-hour stream is probably like the best one because obviously I was able to finally play the game normally. The one before that, don't look at that one too much because it was just me trying to fix the game, right? But the last stream that I did where I was playing the gameplay, I felt more relief. When I finished the stream, I didn't feel exhausted, and I streamed for 10 hours, right? But we do have to talk about certain things that are going to be important. And again, we're going to keep talking about the gameplay mechanic stuff, but I'm going to be talking about the modes. EA, please, because I know you're going to be watching this video, right? Please, because you did good implementations, but please, you need to add some sort of variable in this game with your game modes. I'm going to mention it again. This mode that you added, the early access final, W, right? Huge fan of this, 100% W, okay? But because the other day, I didn't play yesterday, I only played it for the first time, normally under good conditions, because I played it before for the Jekko video, but I was stuttering like crazy, PC issues, right? First time I played it was yesterday. We were able to win the whole thing, right? But then you have the same issue again where you guys set limitations. And limitations is what irritates me. If a tournament like this exists and it gives me the possibility of using a Portuguese league team where it's like, oh, because you're going to do that sometimes where it's going to be like, oh, use minimum like 7 Portuguese league players. Maybe you could put an icon, whatever your limitations are. This concept is a massive W, but your limitation of being able to play this mode is garbage, okay? I hate this with a passion. If I'm pretty sure I remember this correctly with Pez years and years ago when I tried this, where I played their version of the tournament mode. If you win it the first time, you get the maximum reward of what it's supposed to be. But then if you replayed it, they just basically divide your reward by 4. So like, let's just say for instance, okay, you don't have the early access finale. You want to limit that to a person winning it once or whatever it is after 5 entries, right? Which we're going to talk about this too for like the lower skill players, which is like the weird thing for me too, right? But the first time that I played it, normally we were able to win it the first time, right? The last two games the semifinals was more sweaty than the finals, but it does get sweaty depending on who you're facing, the teams that they have and stuff, because there's no restrictions, right? But you win it, then you kind of feel like trash, because it's like, dude, if they have a tournament that has the Portuguese league and I can only play it once, that's trash. Let me be able to play it again in like another mode to the side. You know what I'm saying? Or hear me out, EA. You do the thing that I've been requesting every single year ever since this game's inception, right? You have a brilliant format in the World Cup mode. The format of it doesn't have to be the World Cup, but the 3 rounds for the group stages, and then you go into the actual rounds. You could do that, or add a Gold Cup, where if you win it, you get like 500 coins or 1,000 coins. If you do that, EA, the balance of all your game modes will be nice, because you're going to hop on, you're going to try to win this. Some people might not be able to win it in 5 entries, which this is where I don't agree with, because when you play games, the skill-based players will be able to get things quicker in video games than the people who are less skilled. This is normal. This is how it's fair for any game that you play, right? But the limitation of allowing someone to play and then not being able to win it at all and not get those rewards, you make it sweaty. So when people play, not for me, hey, I was able to win it the first time. Maybe the next time maybe I don't win it ever. For me, I was able to win it the first time, but it's not going to be like that for everybody. I might have a point in time where I try to win it 5 times and never win it, right? And that limitation part, the FOMO part that you guys create, I've always been very, very against in this game. This is why I'm not a fan of foot champs being a quantity amount. I do not, however, mind the way that you guys have implemented Division Rivals, because Division Rivals is just that mode that you're going to play that's going to be the sweatiest mode to play. But you only have to play it for a little bit. And then the balance, EA, right, is you would have another mode, be it old division systems where you can even do you can even change it and be like division 10 to 5 and then 4 to 1, right? Matchmaking wise, something like that, right? Or you have a Gold Cup so that you have balance, right? But for me, you create FOMO, because the only way for us to have that other mode to play is through, and I've mentioned this in every single year, is through online draft. But guess what? You have to pay for draft through coins or through FIFA points. And as of right now, I've wasted my FIFA points, because at least on the PC version of the game, hackers, controllers disconnecting, like, you're wasting the thing that I paid for. I paid for the Ultimate Edition. I paid for the ability to play the game earlier, and those things were bugged. And you have no system in the game itself, right, where I can report the person that I just played against. Like every other game, I can report the hacker that I just played, or a system where I can request my draft token back because of BS like that happening. Or even request a draft token because my controller disconnected. Well, the controller disconnecting, you guys just have to fix, because that's going to be hard to prove for every single person that does it. But that's the point that I'm trying to make, right? You wasted people's monies. You wasted people's money off of some BS. So for me, I'm not kidding. Like, you have such a good balance with your modes, except for like the quantity amounts, right? Because I hate the concepts of these things. I really do. I have a genuine hatred towards them, because it creates FOMO, and I hate that. I don't experience that in any other game that I play, because there's no quantity amounts in other games that I play, but you guys love to have it in this game because you like to create that addiction, that FOMO part of your game, right? So this part I will always disagree with. But hey, if I were to play the game nowadays as a streamer, honestly, the balance would be Rivals. Oh, it's getting super, super sweaty. I'm going to stop playing this. And then I go into live events. I play the early access finale, hopefully win it the first time. If I don't, try the other times. If there is like tournaments where I don't win it the first time, then you somewhat created that tournament mode that like would be nice to play. Because you know what I've been telling people this year is that for my second account, my content account, I might use that second account to be able to play this as the tournament mode. And then if I reach the finals, I give the finals to somebody, because that's the way that I can try out players while still playing against competent people. Because I don't want to face completely trash people. When you hit the second and the third round, these are people that won games, right? So you're still facing competent people if I want to do like a player review or something, right? It'd be the same thing with like a Gold Cup. It'd be the same thing with like the format of the World Cup. So you have the ability to do this, EA. You do, and don't pretend like you don't. To just add one more thing in here. Just one more. Gold Cup, 500 coins for winning it, whatever. Just something for people to play on the side. Oh, I can only go and play division rivals afterwards, and I can't use my Portuguese league team because they're not as meta as actual meta players, because this is a meta mode, EA. Rivals is a meta mode. You need to use your best formation, your best players, right? That's the balance. Did I not just show you guys Call of Duty? Guess what people play the most on for Call of Duty? Do you think they play the ranked for Call of Duty the most? No. They play the regular Resurgence and the regular Battle Royale. That's what streamers do the most, unless they are specifically competitive players. In FC, if you have that balance, that is what would make the most sense, okay? Rivals is super sweaty. You play super sweaty games. You try to climb the divisions. No problem. No quantity amounts, right? Trash. I don't care what anybody says. I've always hated this mode. I could do well in this mode, but I hate this mode, okay? Quantity amounts. And then the new one, this one, fantastic concept, forcing people to use different teams. Quantity amount, trash. I always disagree with this in video games. I don't play Call of Duty and have quantity amounts. I don't play Marvel Rivals and have quantity amounts. I don't play Battlefield and have quantity amounts. I just play. Okay? If I play Foot Champs and I get an untradeable player that people wouldn't normally use in Rivals because it's not full meta, you have more of a variable in this year's game for people to use different teams, because so many more players are usable in this game. So many. So many. Icons that were trash. Cruyff, garbage last year. Maybe there were some promo cards that might have been decent, but he was garbage. Bro, I got him on the draft with that first touch plus for this year's game, with the way that you guys changed left stick dribbling and stuff. Oh my goodness gracious, bro. So this, I always disagree with, right? That's why when I look at this game from a streamer perspective, I'm like, bro, you're going to be sweating the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to have at least the mode on the side where you're going to be mid-sweat, because it's still modes where you're going through rounds and you're still facing people that are trying to win 100%. But the games, they mean less. You're just playing to have fun and to get small rewards, like you would in any other game, EA. It makes sense to force this competitive aspect in games like Marvel Rivals, CSGO, all these types of games. But do you know what happens in those types of games, EA? When people start getting in the higher ranks, they literally go make Smurf accounts to play in lower ranks, because sometimes it gets too sweaty. You have a game where you don't have to deal with that. You can play different things, and you have the ability to do it, and you just choose not to do it. You would have one of the greatest games when it comes to that balance, but you just choose not to do it. And I think that that's garbage, okay? That's game modes, right? So let's talk about the gameplay side of things now, because it's going to be important to talk about the core gameplay stuff. So you guys know, I'm a big fan of the left stick dribbling, and I'm a big fan of the defensive tackling animations. Those two things specifically makes this game the best FC, the best FIFA I have played since FIFA 15, okay? Because those are things that we ask for every single year, and it's such a huge relief for your head when those things just come off nicely, okay? Now, let's talk about the gameplay specifics, okay? EA, stop making park the bus counterattacks the main focus of your game, okay? That is, and I can't swear, that is the most B-word way of playing the game. I know if I face people that do this all the time, this is the equivalent of someone using L1 speed boost in the past, okay? And thank you for nerfing those mechanics, by the way. Huge relief. Some of the cancel spamming that people do, you gotta look into that too. But thank you for nerfing those things. My goodness gracious, right? But the reason why Park the Bus counter is so effective in this game, guys, is because even if you're using 4-2-1-3 and you have two CDMs and they're both on holding, the gap that exists in the middle of the pitch compared to the person that was initially defending and then they transition into the attack is massive, bro. It is such a huge space there. It's massive. And they're all always positioned. The 3 top guys or the 4 top guys, they're all always positioned to attack against you in the easiest way possible, right? Because through balls are so effective and the pace against defenders is so effective that those goals for me, they're always the trash goals to concede. Now, I'm not going to talk about that fully, yeah. I want you to listen to me, okay? We, as a community, cannot judge the defending part of the game when I'm actually using them without meta players, because I know that you guys have this direction nowadays with the new gen version of the game where you need to have full meta defenders and full meta midfielders. What I am telling you to look into is that blob of space that exists in the middle, because that part is crazy. The other thing that I want you guys to look at, because these are old settings that transfer over to the new version of the game, and these are settings that I disagreed with in the past. The one gameplay dev, you might remember this from the older rant videos because I know you watch this stuff, right? You have a setting with passing specifically that literally states actively avoids the opposition's defender. That part that you added like 4 or 5 years ago is garbage. It makes your through passes way too user-friendly for people. If you are doing through passes in the past, we're talking 6, 7, 8 years ago for some of the through passes, right? Because I forget which games where they were actually like really good to do. That setting was not a thing. You added that a few years ago, and that's been transferred over to this game now because there's so many situations where I am cursor defending and you are actively assisting that incisive pass for the person when it's not a good decision to make in that moment based on the angles that they're doing. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some incisive pass situations, and you guys need to be very careful with how you code this specifically, because as of right now, an argument can be made that if the through passes are this effective, but the person has incisive pass plus, then you know what? It is what it is. But brother, all these players are acting like they have incisive pass plus with some of these passing animations that are happening because of that specific setting of avoiding the player. Guys, listen to what I'm going to say because you guys are new sometimes, right? In the past, that wasn't the specific setting, but if you did a proper through ball in the right space, your body was facing the right angle, you're going to make that through pass, right? I just want to show you guys an example because I only saw the beginning of this video. FC26 thoughts. It was from Tom. Yes, he did a pass initially in the beginning where I'm like, guys, this is where it's normal, right? And I can't find examples right now from like my gameplay of the ones that like I don't agree with. But there's like, I think this one was a good example where he's here, and this is like Andres Iniesta. Like that's a fantastic through pass. Fantastic. I'm down for that, right? This one right here. Guys, I'm all like, let's say this is me controlling the player. I'm all the way to the right-hand side. This is Andres Iniesta. This guy's obviously going to be fantastic at passing the ball. No problem. That space makes a lot of sense. This is clear and obvious, right? Bang. No problem. Hey, EA, listen, this part I'm not against, okay? I'm not against this part. I want to show you a different example too. This is some other examples of through passes that make sense, right? So boom. Makes sense. Like there's zero issues. No one should ever complain about stuff like this, right? Like that's zero issues as well, right? Yeah, so this one, it was this clip. I couldn't find it, sorry. But it's this one, right? So I have the ball here. I have incisive pass. I make this pass. This is not clear and obvious. The positioning of the defender here is fantastic. This is a forced through pass, right? I do that. He gets possession of the ball. Fantastic. Love that, right? That's a poor pass decision by me. I like stuff like that in video games, right? To be honest with you guys, the main mechanic that I actually think you guys should look into the most is the effectiveness of some of these incisive passes. It's the effectiveness of some of these incisive passes, and it's the quality of the player doing them, but it's also that huge blob of space. That, to me, core mechanics-wise of the game, allowing people to counter and through pass, those two core things is the main issue with the game, because that being the most effective way to play is going to make People park the bus more and counter and do that because of how effective through passes are and how crazy it is where the attackers are positioned specifically compared to your midfielders and your defenders, right? Now, again, EA, because I know you watch these videos, I'm only going to say that at 50% capacity, not the blob of space part in the middle. That you might want to look into a little bit, right? But the quality of defenders, when I get them in the future, is when we'll make that video maybe a month from now, maybe 2 months from now, when we maybe have better defenders and you can give more of a solid concrete thing to that, right? The way that your defensive animations work in this year's game from the actual manual challenges is great. But because that is the direction of your game, people are going to create tactics to park the bus and to congest their 18-yard box like crazy, which is now going to lead me into my next point, because that is right now the biggest issue with the game. You concede trash goals against people that are not using brain cells to score some of these opportunities, and that's what the game should be based off of. It should be based off utilization of attacking AI in the right ways, okay? Okay, yay. So, I'm mentioning how the whole park the bus situation and then the through pass situation is something that you have to look into for your game, right? That's like the main issue, because that play style is trash, right? And making that the most effective way to play is garbage, right? You guys, attacking AI wise, you guys have actually improved the game this year. I am actually able to score different opportunities, which is fantastic. This, because I've seen that in your recent patch, you guys actually brought up good points in your recent patch. If I saw you guys adjusting your shooting mechanics, other than the driven shot, I would have thrown hands with you, to be honest with you. But I don't know, you have someone at the studios now that maybe has brain cells, so you didn't make drastic decisions like you did for FIFA 18 pre-patch. That will be the game I always talk about. You didn't make drastic decisions in that recent patch that made no sense. These were good changes, right? You adjusting attacking AI situations, because we are going to talk about that. It is inconsistent sometimes, but there are lots of moments where it can be good as well. I want you guys, EA, to focus on this, and you have done this in this year's game, and this is why I can actually score different goals sometimes. You need to really focus. I don't know what the wording is, the coding or whatever, right? You need to really focus. You need to have someone at the studios that views football in this way, please, for the love of everything in this world. Please look at this game from an advanced attacking AI perspective. Let me show you one of the goals that I was able to score on this game because of that being a variable, right? So it's probably this area right here. Okay. I need my players, attacking AI-wise, to always adapt to the moments that are happening when the moments happen. Let me show you an example, okay? And you do this with Pepe. Great SBC, by the way, you should do it. Let me just show you guys an example here, right? Okay, so we're attacking normally. Again, it is a counterattack. This blob of space could be a little bit better, but he is also overcommitting his player. This is not where the issue is, right? Because this is not me transitioning all the way from the back of the defense. This normal build-up play, that spacing is fine. It's when you have the ball bunched up in the defense and then you transition from there forward where that blob of space is just massive, right? Over here, it's pretty neutral, to be honest, right? But okay, we're attacking here. He overcommits the CDM, so now he's out of position. That's normal, right? So we do the through pass here. The key thing for this one is to watch Pepe on the right-hand side, right? So he's already adapting. This I like. This is what I'm saying about advanced attacking AI, is adapting to every touch, every pass that I make, and to utilize space a certain way, right? So right now, Pepe on a 4-2-1-3, and this is a key thing to mention too, because you should add this to your right mids and left mids as well. Right wing on roaming. Roaming on this year's game will actually give you nice attacking AI, which is great, right? For this year's game. So look at Pepe the whole time here, right? We're going backwards here. Okay, look at Pepe. What was Pepe doing there? Pepe was reacting to every single thing that you were doing. And again, this is where the quality of players, this is how you sell your players, and I understand. This point of you guys making money, I get it. It makes sense for this game. That's fine. For this year, I accept it more than previous years because this game is the most enjoyable since FIFA 15, right? But for me, this is where when I'm streaming for 10 hours and I score a goal like this gameplay-wise, this is where I feel good. Because what do you guys see? No player lock, a mechanic that can go screw itself, right? The reason why you added player lock in the past, right? This is the same thing with like assisted passes, avoiding opposition players from poorly made passes. That setting specifically you have to look at too, right? But the attacking AI in this sort of situation is adapting constantly. He does angles, right? And again, maybe if you get like Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., maybe it's a little bit more consistent. Sure, this is where I'm giving initial thoughts with lower rated players, right? But it's this movement that he does here, right? That I'm a huge fan. It's boom, cutting inside, pass, reacted to the pass, right? Bro, I'm telling you, this was like, this is the stuff I used to rant about like years and years ago. I was like, bro, your game, like for the new gen version, this is a nothing game because you never do any of this stuff. Brother, I played the most recent PES, and it was like one of the first goals you score where the striker lays the ball off to the midfield, and then right away from laying the ball off, he's already attacking into the space based on the dribbles and the passes that you are doing in other areas. He's adapting to that specifically. That is where the skill needs to be in your game, EA. Not me having to use player lock for you to understand space. It should be based on, first of all, that mechanic can go screw itself. The only reason why it exists now and the reason why people like it is because your attacking AI is not there just yet on a consistent basis. But like, bro, look at the reactions every time. It's receiving the pass. It's dribbling with the ball, right? Boom. I'm going in. He stops, right? He stops, but he's still moving. But look at his direction. He's going top left over here, right? Or top right, because you guys get what I'm saying, right? Like his direction. He's moving to the top left facing the net, right? That you guys get what I'm saying. But it's like, he's going there, but then I do this. Bro, look. Just the fact that you guys did this year, another reason why I can enjoy this game more, okay? Because this stuff not happening in previous years, oh my God, man, the rage that I would have, right? And this is why people think that I just raged for no reason. No. I know what I'm talking about, okay? Right here, it's look at this. Look at the way he's reacting. Nothing yet, right? But then, look, right there, man. Right there. This is what you guys need to focus on the most, EA. This is fantastic, okay? Boom, he's already reacting off of movements, other areas for himself. Does that. Pass. He goes right, and then he goes top right. Look, top right. To utilize a space, and I could do a first-time pass. And to me as the player, I'm going to be satisfied for the next 30 minutes playing this game because I scored a goal like that, right? Look at my reaction when I was live streaming. You guys are used to me ranting. You guys are used to me being upset. That type of goal when you score is what you feel good about. That's what the aim of your game needs to be. When people are watching your game competitively, it needs to be based on reaction time for stuff like that, EA. Okay? There's another goal here too that I want to show an example of. Let me just find it first. This is the clip right here, okay? Because I want to show one example of something that you guys don't do often, EA, and you need to, because there's going to be some attacking AI examples I'm going to show, okay? And again, this could be quality of player. This is why I'm not fully judging it, right? But I just want you to see certain mechanics that you have to look into for utilizing space a certain way, right? Okay. So right here, we're attacking on the right-hand side, right? We're doing certain things to kind of like waste some time. I'm forcing that movement there so that it drags players out of positions, right? L1 wise. When you use the L1 stuff, the R1 stuff, these are very basic movements. Now the player lock spamming in different directions. This is very, very basic movements. This stuff, whatever, right? Just to push people out of positions defensive AI-wise. Boom, right? More blob of space in the middle because he overcommitted poorly. His defensive AI is now pushed out because, you know, we did that on purpose to push him out, right? This is what I'm saying. This is where it's the advanced attacking AI in your mind. This is where the skill parts needs to be taken into consideration, right? So I'm doing that knowing I can create space in the middle from dragging people out if he follows me there, right? If he's, double tapping R1 or whatever. Okay, pass. Nothing here. This is a good sign right here. This is when I see this, if your player doesn't make this movement, I will freak out. This you need to do more consistently because it makes sense for him to move in this area, okay? It's when I'm here, this doesn't make sense to make the pass. When I'm doing this, good, you're making that run. That's a good thing, right? But I want you to see something afterwards. And this is when I did player reviews in the past with strikers, especially Benzema, Correa. You guys know the legends of the content creation over here, right? The legends attacking AI wise. It's the explosiveness after they make passes. That's what I looked for whenever I did player reviews in the past. And it was the same thing even last year too with Kareem Benzema's movement and all that kind of stuff, right? But look at this goal, right? So boom, 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 right? And that one, I felt good about too, right? I felt good about that one because I'm like, yo, I made that initial pass, right? I felt good. Like, this is what I'm saying about this year's game just feeling more enjoyable for me, right? I pushed him. This guy's being dragged out. Pass, 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 right? Pass. Don't have the angle yet. He tackles. I shoot and I score. Every variable there. Look at my reaction. I'm like, yes, man. Every variable there is what you should be looking for on a skill-based level. Not oh, counterattack. Look at this one through pass, right? No. It's utilizing and understanding space and you actually doing good attacking AI for us to score opportunities like this. There's one thing that you need to fix in these sort of moments though, right? Because you have an animation here that doesn't allow for the explosiveness afterwards, okay? And you guys will see it from the striker initially. And again, I have reviewed players in the past where they do not do. Like, they'll pass and they're right away afterwards, right? So it could be a variable too. But it's right here where I do this, I do this, I do this. Your game is registering like the space has already been made. And it hasn't. He's clearly defending the right areas. He thinks I'm going to shoot the ball right away, right? He thinks I'm going to go forward right away. When your player makes this pass, don't do this animation, EA. Don't. Well, you have to be careful about it because we'll show one with Chuck afterwards too, right? But this animation that Boole does here, you eliminate attacking AI here because my space is not created here yet. So Boole, after making that pass, can do a small animation of laying the ball off, but then she needs to snap out of it and go into the space right away, right? The space is once she makes this pass, goes downwards to the left-hand side, because this shouldn't have been that complicated. You see how the player is still marking that area? There needs to be a boom, little small, like an adapting movement. And again, remember, I keep saying it could be the quality of the player. It maybe if I had Vinicius Jr. or something, he's more explosive to move into those areas. That's what you need to be focusing on, right? Is that I have to make this extra pass because the spacing is not there yet. And I've created this space in multiple areas where I deserve to score this goal. And to feel good. Like, I'm looking down because trust me, 10 plus years of scoring the most trash goals possible. Like, your brain needs to click for you to feel good when you're scoring these goals. Not, I play FIFA 25. Inception, the game has been better last year, but all I did was cut back because my attackers created. Your view on football in a video game, I'm sorry, is so different to mine, man. It just is. When I have to read those comments sometimes, okay? Don't talk about FC25, please, right? Okay, let me show you an example with Chuck where the animation comes off and it feels good. The layoff through pass, right? Because it's the layoff through pass animation. I like the animation, EA, but your players kind of need to do it and snap out. You need to create a new animation of the transition between that, because you see how there was no explosiveness afterwards. You need to create a mid transition of boom in, boom in. You're gonna see what I'm saying, right? With Chuck, because there was a goal that I scored with him, not with him, but it was with somebody else. This has nothing to do with like the video, but this is just like an example of like one of the attacking AI things that I was able to do. That just kind of like came off nice. Like, obviously, like the side foot animation, they're changing. I don't have to bring this stuff up because they changed in their first patch notes, right? But it's like boom, boom, like that, man. Oh, I love that, bro. Like, I love that you do that nowadays. My God, that's your focus here needs to be on this, man. I love this stuff, dude. Oh, it's like boom, boom, and then like it's right here, right? Like look. I love this. Look, boom, and then look at Chuck, man. He's already doing it, dude. Look at how he's reacting based off of what I'm doing elsewhere. And then boom, you know? I kind of mistimed it a little bit because, oh, this is where you guys have to be mindful you're attacking AI. And maybe you adjusted it, because I haven't played your new patch yet, right? But over here, boom, boom. Look. Right here, where I created the space in the touches, right? Because every touch matters. Where I created the space here, if I'm dribbling, if I'm doing the first touch here to the top left, and this guy's getting dragged downwards and he's not being controlled, Chuck has to make this run right there, man. He has to. Sometimes EA, and again, I haven't tried a new patch yet, so maybe you fix this, but sometimes the dude still runs into the defender. He goes on the outside of the defender. Nah, bro. The advanced attacking AI that he does here is fantastic. The movement that he needs to do here is to cut inside, right? But again, I did do the pass a little bit too early, so I don't know if he would have done it in this situation, but I'm just letting you know that I have dealt with situations where they don't do that run. Like I noticed this a lot when I was using 4-4-1-1 or any formation that has center mids, where this space is right there. Boom, boom. The space is right there from that beautiful advanced AI run that they do, right? Because they have more attacking AI options now. But then they just don't adapt. Like, you know how Pepe did it? Like he angle. Like he literally went top left, directly to the right, top left again. Oh my gosh. I love, when I see that, when I score those opportunities, I feel so good. I love it, right? Just right here, like the more consistency right there, right? And I like I said, I noticed this a lot when I was using 4-4-1-1 with center mids on box to box, like Valverde, right? I'm like, brother, the space is right there. Like, why do I have to player lock you to move into that area? That's what you guys need to see. It's just right here. Like, honestly, I passed the ball way too early. I did. This is a problem on me. I'm down for that, right? But I'm just letting you know that there have been examples where he doesn't do that, right? So over here would have been perfect. It would have been a perfect example of what I'd want him to do, because another situation could have happened where it's like Chuck actually ends up making this run into this space. Maybe I go for a through pass, but the fullback's already going to be blocking his area. So maybe I choose to not do that. Maybe I choose to make the pass to the left winger instead. I like that. I like those options, right? But this is a poor early pass decision on my part. It is. But I like that. I like my mistakes being my mistakes, and I can analyze them afterwards so that if I know that your attacking AI is consistent so that the player moves into that area consistently, hey, my hands are up. He's already playmaker plus here. You're already giving him all the proper things. So if he makes that movement, hey, hands are up, you know? But again, there is also the level of quality of player that you're using, because I'm using Chukwemeke, I forget how to say his name, on an engine, you know, no attacking, positioning, boost, and like there's always those variables too, right? But I'm just hoping that if I have the right player's EA and I want that, I make that top left touch and then he makes that run on the inside. Yes, bro. Like Pepe did in that one moment, right? This is the animation that I was mentioning earlier, right? So it was from Bull was doing it before, so Chuck does it on this one, right? They're gonna see the animation itself I like, and we're gonna talk about the animations after too, right? But this part right here, right? Boom, 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 right? A couple movements here and there, bang, little layoff. Yeah, I like that. I like that. But EA, the transition of this layoff, I like the animation, but like midway into it, because you keep the animation's fantastic, but midway into it, he's got to snap out of it. Because I know that you added that animation, right? He's got to snap out of it a little bit quicker so that he utilizes space right away afterwards too. So I like your direction this year, where it's like with the moment I finish shooting the ball, it leaves the guy's foot. Even if the animation looks a little bit weird, because we saw this with Socrates in the initial gameplay videos that we were watching from like Ozio and stuff, right? Was it Ozio where the Socrates scored a crazy goal on the left side? I think that was the Stokes game, right? That's fine, because you're registering commands when they complete. That direction that you took this year too, huge W, right? But it's this animation right here where sometimes you're removing attacking AI that could happen afterwards, right? Over here, this is a very natural moment of it happening, because Chuck's not going to do anything afterwards anyways, right? Where it's like, if I were to lay this ball off, like, where am I going to really go with Chuck afterwards, right? But it was different with Bull before, right? Because Bull should have definitely utilized the space properly when she was in the middle, right? When she made that layoff pass, there's still an extra pass angle that I have to make. That transition between her doing that same animation, she needed to snap out of that quicker to break into that middle a little bit more and to score an easier opportunity. That should have happened anyways, right? Like that goal was made more complicated with that other defensive player there, because you know why I'm saying this? If that's a CDM that has intercept plus, and my attacker does not make that advanced attacking AI run, not advanced because that I don't consider that one advanced, but that explosive run afterwards, that's where it's a little bit of an issue. But like I said, this animation in general, yeah, I love the way that this comes off, right? Like I make this pass here, boom, 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 comes off nice. I like it. I do. I'm a huge fan. A little layoff, right? You added that because of like Pogba doing it to IRL and stuff. I'm a fan. But I'm just saying that there's many moments where attacking AI-wise, you are removing an area where they should be utilizing right away. Over there, not a big deal, Chuck. If you have the animation there and there's no clear and obvious situation, it's different, right? But I wanted to show an example with, I think it was with Ayoze when I had the ball with him on one of these attacks. I'm going to try to see if I can find it. Yeah, I had a feeling it was from the Pepe video. Okay. So this is the example of what I'm talking about, right? So again, like I said, I'm going to mention it many times, but again, it could be a quality of the reason why I keep repeating myself is because I want the gameplay dev to tell me if it's quality of player or if it's something that they'll look into. That's what it is. I just want to know which difference it is, right? So you're there. Like this is all normal build-up stuff, right? Okay, yeah, boom, boom, get the 1-2 pass. Look, this is my decision making here, okay? For me, I don't overcommit this because I feel like he could still do this. And he actually does do it, right? The slide tackle. Maybe if I took a touch, maybe if I shot with my weak foot right away, maybe I would have scored, right? But that would have been one of the options, okay? The thing is that you only give me that as an option here, EA, because look at what you decide to do attacking AI-wise. And in this clip, you'll hear me say this audibly in the Pepe video that EA lets me down here, right? This is where I think you let me down AI-wise, EA. I don't think I should need to control this, right? This is where, like I said, player locks can go F itself, right? Over here, we're passing, boom. I see the cursor switch, so I immediately do the L1 pass to force the run, right? Okay. Ayoze, I shouldn't have to force an L1 pass again. You understand? Especially for a through pass where I want my player to utilize the empty space, because look at Ayoze here afterwards. That's not good movement. Okay? That's where you need to adapt to. If this is Mbappe and Mbappe does this movement, this is why I'm mentioning it to UEA. If it's more of a, so I'm mentioning if it's a quality thing or if it's the player of the explosiveness part after the pass, right? When I do this, do this, I'm breaking a lot of things here. I skill-wise, if we're looking at this game competitively, right? I'm breaking 2 of his players here. So I should already get this goal from my decision-making in this moment, right? Because I touch this ball here and I predict the extra movement. Look at all this space right here, EA. When my Ayoze makes this thing, you have to there needs to be adaptive attacking AI here. Has to be, right? Where I make this, I make that, force, boom, explode. He does it. Here, this is what I'm saying about reaction time, EA. He does it, so it makes me think he's gonna continue to do it. This is what I mean about the explosive part after the pass, right? But then he stops. I see that, so I'm like, oh, look at how he's going to the bottom right. He's doing the attacking AI that he should. But then, imagine if he continued to make that run because he adapted to this guy's defensive AI going upwards and he utilized this empty space. When I did this, my Ayoze would have been through. Because that is what, in the moment, reaction-wise, that is what I'm reacting to. I am reacting to Ayoze doing that. But then he stops. I do this, and then the guy's no longer there. So when I make the pass, for you guys, when you're watching, this just looks like a stupid decision. But for me, in my heart, this is EA letting me down attacking AI-wise. Because he needs to be utilizing that spot there, right? Like I said, I can't further test this because I don't have Mbappe and all that kind of stuff, right? But I just hope that that's your goal when you guys are looking into attacking AI stuff, is utilization of empty space after passes, advanced passes, how players should adapt. Like inside forward, like, you know how Pepe went to the top right there? It made sense for him to go into the top right because that's the space that made sense based on the passing and the dribbling I was doing elsewhere. But if I wasn't doing the right passing and dribbling parts elsewhere, Pepe needs to adapt to maybe go out wide, not out wide, but like more, instead of Pepe going into here, maybe go into this area here because it just makes sense for the moments. Like, I hope, because you guys, you have someone there that has that sort of brain for a football game, and that's amazing because I do see it more often now, right? But that is, I hope, what you guys should be looking at in this game now. And especially when you guys keep improving that, get rid of player lock. I don't care about these rats that like that mechanic, right? You just need to do basic movements to pull players out of positions AI-wise, where it's like, you know, you use L1, R1 to pull them close or to push them to make runs, right? The player lock can go F itself, EA. People keep using it now because your attacking AI is still not there. Like sometimes we're in the side positions with fullbacks, and because we have inside forward with a right mid that doesn't have roaming, which you should probably look into adding as well, he only cuts inside. So someone has to player lock him. Instead of tapping L1 and then flicking the right stick to make him run in that direction, people have to player lock him and then go to the top right. But that shouldn't be the case because the run that he's making on the inside forward part initially doesn't make sense because it's not helping my situation at all, right? Because I'm not working with my midfielders a certain way from the passes and all that kind of stuff. So that's what you need to be looking into. Like I said, I personally had that issue when I had left mids and right mids. In this game, I just felt like their attacking AI just wasn't doing exactly what I wanted. I don't know if you guys feel the same way with the wide formations. It feels the same way when I use like the 4-4-1-1, 4-2-3-1, but sometimes those formations, they're too good because defensively, you have a left mid and right mid. Defensively, you have two CDMs, so there's a trade-off. I'm just saying attacking AI-wise, I just feel like it should be better, right? So that's from like some of the examples that I can gather from the gameplay that I got, at least from the player reviews, right? But it has been improved this year. And as you guys can see from my reactions from some of those player reviews, I felt better about scoring some of the goals that I scored because they haven't been as brain dead as they have been for most of these years, right? Like there's advanced attacking AI that I, as the player, am seeing, I'm adapting to, and then utilizing when the moment comes. And that's where I think that skill should be when it comes to this game, is utilization of AI in those moments in that way. Not he goes on a counterattack, his players have an attacker advantage because they go behind the defender, they cut inside because if you do that first touch and then it acts against the defensive AI because they push in the opposite direction and then they shoot, that's the game playing for you. That's not you actually scoring a good goal, right? It could be one of the forms of scoring, right? But it should be the main focus, not like this current meta, which is park the bus and counter pretty much, right? Even when I'm trying to show you guys examples in the PC version of the game, my controller keeps disconnecting. Oh my goodness, man. Please fix this. This is so annoying, man. It's so bad. Anyways, okay. The next mechanic I wanted to talk about, we'll still talk about dribbling afterwards, but I really want to talk about the shooting because I need to give credit for the shooting because I have many, many years, 10 plus years of trying to force this mentality down their throats of high percentage, lower percentage, and low percentage strike. Whoever did the shooting in this game, you did a great job. I'm going to tell you why. Like, listen, and this is why, the reason why I'm telling you did a great job is because you nerfed the driven shots because they're kind of crazy and from specific angles. It's good that driven shots can be effective as one of the options, but it was some of the options or some of the shooting angles were disgusting. Okay, so but you did it so fast. You know what I'm saying? You did it so fast, guys. I'm gonna be making a tutorial, and I can honestly make a tutorial for the finishing now, because honestly, guys, there is a specific year, and you guys will remember this year. I literally had a rant. It was FIFA 21 or something like that, and you guys maybe will remember this, right? I literally had my Sony Vegas editing software up on the screen, and I was showcasing how garbage the finishing was in those games because they were so illogical. In the past, you guys know I always talked about when you make specific touches, when you make specific shot directions. You know how earlier when that hacker was playing against me, he did a left foot strike, power strike to the left-hand side, and he missed? That's not a good shot decision. That is, for me, the way they designed the shooting is the way that I imagined it in that rants video I made years ago. It's the exact same way, where it's certain variables, guys, right? And again, another thing they need to fix, which I think they did, is when I lace a strike, you do a finesse shot instead, or a side-footed shot. You had that same glitch last year, but I think you fixed that in this patch as well. So hopefully you did, right? But guys, and we'll do a finishing tutorial as well. And don't get me wrong, guys, when I'm playing this game, when I'm playing the game in the moment and I miss an opportunity, I'm like, oh my God, I should have scored that. Oh my God, I can't believe that didn't go in. But that's like normal gamer rage. It's not genuine rage like it has been for 10 years when it comes to the finishing. That's just me raging in the moment as a regular. It's like when you die in Call of Duty. Oh my God, I can't believe I died that way. Oh my God, I can't believe he hit that. Like in the moment rage. Always forgive streamers and content creators for this game when they do that, because that's a normal thing, okay? But the logic of how you applied your finishing and what goes in and what goes out, it makes complete sense. It's literally the way that I envisioned it in the past, where it's specific things, right? So because you guys have added better left stick dribbling like this, I can work with the variables that I wished I could do in the past more nowadays, because let's say, guys, right, I'm in this angle right here. So this is now considered a low percentage strike. If I'm here with Rafinha and I shoot across goal with his right foot, right? Obviously I'm using precision, so I'm just trying to, like, I'll just show you guys, right? If I'm using Rafinha with his right foot and I do that, that is not a low percentage strike. That is a lower percentage strike, because the angle that I am facing, you guys will remember this in the past. I want to show something. We're bringing out the board, boys. We're bringing out the board, okay? You guys will remember this because I used to talk about this all the time back in the day. For me, I always personally believe that FIFA, in the past when it came to shooting, needed to have a hot box area for shooting, right? And this is without the variable of time finishing at the time, because I had more hatred towards the time finishing at the time, right? Which is not a thing nowadays, which thank goodness. If you guys don't know, the hot box area for me inside the 18-yard box from good angles is literally around this area right here. This is the hot box area. You will remember this from the past. I used to mention this all the time. What does the hot box, this is the way I envisioned it in my head, right? The hot box area is the area where if you are taking the right touches and your body is facing the right angles and you're doing the right shot decisions, you just deserve to score them. Especially since you have the mechanic of manual goalkeeping, which I hate, but can't really mind as much nowadays because you don't have to time it, so I don't have to be an octopus, right? I still hate the mechanic, don't get me wrong, but you have a variable now where if I'm using the arrow here, I am faced this direction. My player is left-footed. I am most likely going to score this opportunity. I'm going to most likely score this opportunity even more if I have finesse shots, like you guys saw in the video with Pepe. Precision finesse shots. Effective. The angles that I scored the precision finesse shot with, the person on the other side playing against me cannot complain about those angles. Okay? Left foot on the right-hand side, finesse shot, because his dribble, not you facing this direction. You guys will remember this from the old Rams video. Not this direction. Because this direction, he would have to twist his body, which I think you can do in this game from a certain mechanic or a certain command, but I don't remember what it is. Not twist your body and hit the finesse shot, even though those ones should work as well, right? If you're like, listen, it's like if you're here, it could be a little bit too close. It just depends on the goalkeeper positioning as well. All of these variables matter, right? But they applied so much logic to the finishing, right? Where this angle here, this whole spot right here, if you're a right-footed player and you're in that area, in this game, it feels like you score most of these chances, right? And this is from the games that I play. So an example is if I'm with Rafinha, right? And I am in the hot box area and I take the right touches, I score them. Because one, they increase the percentages or the percentage of precision shooting with 15 or 20%. So when I get into this area here, this is the hotspot area. And I should score that all the time for the most part. Some people don't agree with this. I think you guys are wrong. In a video game, it's nice to score this. If you create this chance, that means you beat the defenders. If I do the right dribbles, like let's say I'm here. Oh no, I'm right-footed. Sorry, I'm talking and doing precision at the same time. I am used to it now, so don't worry, right? If I'm here and I do this, that is a lower percentage strike. I'm taking the strike with the weak foot. The angle that I'm facing the net is not as good. Many variables. There are angles with the hotspot area, right? Where if you go like, let's say you do this and then you shoot it across, that still goes in. Yes, even if you face upwards, I still consider this a pretty good angle to shoot from, where you're here, right? And then you do that, that's fine too. Facing in that direction. I used to mention this in the past as well. And then it's the same thing, right? Where it's like, let's say I'm here, I want more consistency. I'm gonna ball roll. I'm gonna ball roll and then finesse it, right? Because I want more consistency. If I'm here and I shoot it across, I'm not gonna score it. You see how I'm not gonna score it in the hot box area, but if I'm with his left foot, which is his strong foot, I do. Whoever designed the shooting, and I was really concerned when I saw a shooting change. I'm like, oh my goodness, but it was just the driven shots, right? Again, you're here. More consistency, boom, touch, finesse. Bro, even just ball roll finesse, right? Like ball roll finesse. You got them like pretty much all right, EA. This is the first year that I can confidently say that, to be honest. Hotspot area, I don't have to green. I'm here, left-footed Trivella. But look, you see how your animations do different things sometimes? Gotta be careful with that, because your R1 will do a Trivella as well. Let's see if it does it. See, that inconsistency is where it can be weird, EA, because it's okay to do this flick shot. Like, doing that on a normal strike. But EA, I'm trying to specifically do a Trivella here, unless there's a command that I don't know for this year's game, right? You'd let me know. But you see how he's doing like flare shots? Like, bro, I'm trying to do a Trivella. But I don't have to, right? Even if I do this, a regular shot should work too. So the angles that they understand, like, dude, even if you're, let's say, right? Let's say you're over here, and then your player does a near post strike, but he does the Trivella animation, they score those as well, right? So you can do stuff like this where it's like, boom, create the space to go for the finesse afterwards. Like, most of these opportunities, I'm not going to complain about. The chip shots come off okay. The power strikes come off okay. The finesse shots come off okay. But the problem is the consistency of the shot animation, which, again, you guys did actually talk about in your gameplay patch, where you're like, oh, sometimes you would try to do a lace strike, and he would do a side foot strike as well. I needed to give credits to this, because I ranted about this for so many years, where the shot making decision was not being rewarded for taking the right touches like that to go for a finesse on the strong foot, or, you know, being on the strong foot over here and then touching the ball like that for a consistent strike afterwards. They pretty much got them all right, and they have this new added variable where the moment you let go of the shot, it comes off your foot. Even if the animation looks weird, there's no delay, right? You shoot the ball, he scores it, right? But again, it all depends on how your player is moving. You have to look at your body's animations. Sometimes your player is coming off of a certain touch a certain way. Like, yeah, he's not going to hit a specific strike if you're doing those sort of things, right? So I've seen so many people at the EA event taking specific strikes that were the wrong strikes, and people were saying, oh, the goalkeepers are too effective or whatever it was. It just wasn't a good shot decision, okay? It just wasn't a good shot decision. So, you know, specific moments, even with myself, there was a moment with Chukwemeke, or I keep saying his name incorrectly, but let me just show you guys the moment I was talking about. This, by the way, is another good area of like looking at the attacking AI stuff. But this one you have to be careful of, because this is where I'm not going to say anything about this, because this one I don't want to say about, because this is where it turns into last year's game a little bit too much with the inside forward part. But you can argue that he should be making this run, right? But you know, when I get like over here, this is a lot of space not being utilized, right? This Pepe card, look at where he moves, right? But I'm not going to fully say this. I'm going to tell you why. There is an added variable in this game where if your CDM is on Box Crusher, he would move into this area here. Okay? That is the added variable, but I'm a little bit scared to mention this one because this is where it starts to turn into FC25 a little bit more, but I feel like he should still utilize his spot. Where I'm here, bang, that's way too much space to not be utilized. He's overcommitted a center back EA, one center back left. You gotta, even with, but again, like I said, I can't fully comment on this because it might be quality of players, because there have been players that I think in this formation, it's deep lying playmaker as a CDM, where they will move into the space if they see it. They will move it. Like Valverde did it sometimes. So again, this was before the patch. I haven't tested this out after the patch because this is the attacking AI stuff that they were talking about. So hopefully there's something going on over here afterwards. This is where the attacking AI part lets me down a little bit too, right? Because I could have taken a touch directly upwards, work with some space here, because he's already making too many defensive mistakes here, EA, and you're not I can't think of the word right now, but you're not basically screwing him over enough, right? Where like something should be happening afterwards, right? It just should. But again, it could be quality of players, like I said, and then also this patch as well. I forgot I was going to show you guys. It was this one right here, actually. This is what I was going to show you guys. I remember now. Can you guys hear this on the desktop? Kinda. This is super low. Let me put this. I'll put this a little bit higher for you guys. Desktop audio. Yeah, we'll just do it there. Yeah, you can hear this a little bit. Okay, so this is where I liked the attacking AI parts too, right? Where it does like these angled runs that I like, right? Over here though, this is where I feel like I had to force it, man. Like over there, that was a great movement. Like you'll see I didn't trust it initially though, man. I didn't trust him to make that run himself. But I like that he did. I didn't trust that he was gonna do it. Look. And then downwards. He was doing it, but I had to do it. Because I saw him initially moving up, and I'm like, EA, you're letting me down here. Like, it doesn't make sense for him to make that run there. Like, let him adapt downwards, but he did. He did actually do it afterwards. But that's why I had to press the ball afterwards, and I lost that opportunity, right? But anyways, it's this one here, right? So Chuck has a ball. He's overcommitted to center back poorly, and Chuck sees the space. So I could do that, touch, through pass. No. You're going to hear my reaction, look. Oh, way you saved that, Courtois. What was that save animation? That was a crazy save animation. I'm not going to lie, that actually looked really cool. Whoever designed that, that was sick. See how he saved that, but I'm not like super upset. Like, I'm just saying like, yo, that was a sick animation. Because they have some really nice ones this year, right? That save animation that he does, the argument here is like, you can make an argument and say that this should be considered a high percentage strike, but then there is also the other added variable where it is Courtois, right? So there is like those things too. So if I want to take a look at we can review this a little bit more, right? Yeah, so those are the added variables, right? Because this is what I'm saying. Like, oh, imagine if I got upset, like if I was 2-2 in Foot Champs and I didn't score this animation. Maybe in the moment I'm gonna be upset because things are happening too quickly. The animation came off too quickly. But when you analyze this afterwards, that's when you're like, okay, that makes more sense, right? So this, in my opinion, is a low percentage strike. Why? Because this is a first time strike that I'm taking with Chuck with his left foot, and Courtois saves this. Whoever designed this, as the person who did this shot, bless you, okay? This is a save that I'm okay with him making because this is a poor decision on my part, okay? In the moment, I might rage, EA, but if I look at it afterwards, but not rage, not even, it's just regular in the moment rage, not genuine rage. Not, oh my God, I'm gonna end this stream and I feel like garbage for the next 3 or 4 hours of my life, like I have been for 10 years, right? This is a poor shot decision, left foot, to the left-hand side. If he saves this, no problem. What the decision should have been, right, is take a touch first. Take a touch first, and then it's right foot to the left-hand side, or not a power strike to the far post. I would consider power strike to the far post lower percentage strike, but it should have been a touch, right foot strike to the left-hand side, because the shots across body always make the most sense, or a finesse shot. Right? You're over here, take the touch over there, the way that the Courtois is positioned, finesse shot. If I score that, which you do more often this year, good opportunity. But now looking back at it and looking at this opportunity and being like, oh, how did he save that? This makes sense. I like this EA because this makes my brain calm, because I'm not, it's never my fault. You guys think I'm like that because of all of these garbage games that they released every single year, right? You think I'm like that. But I'm just approaching the game from a neutral perspective. When your game is making me rage because you do not have logic in it, and you don't have a learning perspective from it because your mechanics are always random for 10 plus years, that's where I get upset, okay? But this, I'm not even mad. I'm like, oh my goodness, how did he save this? But I'm like impressed at the defense, at the goalkeeper animation. Like the animation for the save is sick. Like he does like, that was cool. And that's a bad shot decision. So he deserves to save that. Game is 1-0. If it was 2-2 in the 90th minute, sure, in the moment I might rage. But afterwards, when I really look at it, fine. Okay? So that's the shooting part aside. I don't have to talk about the shooting. Thank goodness. Oh my goodness. Well, first year where I feel like I don't have to talk about high percentage, lower percentage, and low percentage strikes. And the thing is that these are cards that we're using in the beginning of the year, guys. What happens when we get promo cards and get better cards that can shoot even better? Especially since defensive animations are better. You know? So that's good. Right? Stuff like that's good. So that's attacking AI stuff being talked about. That's shooting opportunities. Gotta give credit. It's like you guys watched that one video where I'm like, EA, please. I was losing my mind during this time period. I'm like, please, like, look, if you take this touch, if you're in this area and he does this and he finesses, or he does this and he power strikes, he does this. If you just do this for finishing, people will be more relieved, man. They did that one year. They did this one year, and the only mechanics that they had to change was the chip shots inside the 18 and the finesse shots. Because the finesse shots work in this game because of the added variable of precision with the 15-20% accuracy boost from it as well for this year, right? I think it was 15 to 20%. I think that's what they said, right? But you can feel it. That's the added variable for finesse shots. So it's like the fix of that year, but they have precision now, right? So like, just like, dude, I'm telling you guys think, like, if you guys play the game nowadays, you're like, oh, these are such simple things. No, bro, we didn't. Like, look, you see why that finesse sucked? Because Rafinha was coming off of the touch a certain way. So you have to take those things into consideration. If Rafinha came off of that touch because that was me coming off of like a dash touch, right? But again, if I'm being consistent, right? Consistent runs, consistent dribbles, ball roll, touch, finesse, that needs to go in. And it does. But you see, I took a dash touch. Rafinha did an animation. Yeah, his finesse is going to be garbage. Makes sense. Those are things you're going to be reacting to in the moment, okay? Okay, so that is shooting down. That is attacking AI down. We talked about the defense in regards to tackle animations. The jockey, I will not comment on yet. I know that it feels a certain way right now, but we do have the added variable of having jockey plus, and the defenders that we're using right now are garbage. So I will not comment on that part yet until I get better defenders, because that is how it is every year in FIFA. Please don't tell them to touch defensive AI in that regard, okay? I was very thankful and happy to see that that wasn't changed, okay? Passing, people are complaining about the passing, more so, I guess, from incisive pass perspective. Law passes can definitely be really effective too. Don't mind them too much as long as my cursor defending is rewarded, which it's not always rewarded, right? Sometimes I'll have a cursor blocking the area properly, and you guys will do a pass that actively avoids my player, which should not be the case. If the person themselves is making a poor passing decision, you guys need to look at that, okay? And not reward the person for those sort of passes. The ones that I showed you from Tom, the ones that I showed you from the ones that didn't work out for me during the gameplay examples, that stuff was perfectly fine, right? The Tom one, when that space is there and you're using Iniesta, hey, it's gotta hit, you know? But some of these where it's like let's say that guy was let's say that guy who was defending against Tom had a defensive player and the cursor was on his head, and then you like you can see it with your own eyes that you avoided my player, even though I'm defending that area properly. That's BS. That's something that you guys had to look at for that mechanic specifically. But the defensive animations for I would say 60%, 55, 60% of manual cursor defending interceptions, especially without the traits too, right? But that, you still need to improve that one. But the tackle animations, the slide tackle animations being possession based, you guys adding that, really good. So passing in general, people are talking about. Guys, I'm going to be real with you, man. I think you guys need to understand that your player's animations when he's touching the ball matters for your passes, because I haven't had a problem with the passes. The only problem with the pass that I've had for clear and obvious it should go to his foot type passes is the thing that, again, EA talked about in the patch, where the ball is left behind them. And I'm like, why? There's moments where it makes sense, where let's say the guy is making a run, but you're making a grounds pass to him. Like, yeah, obviously it's going to be left behind him for some of these opportunities. Like, those are the choices you guys are making. No, not those ones. There's ones where it's like the dude is not making like a certain run and he still passes it behind. But apparently you fixed that too. I haven't messed with it too much because I was adjusting my settings from yesterday, the dual PC setup. So I can't comment on that either. But for me, the passing's fine. It's just the incisive pass. That one is a little bit like, bro, everybody has incisive pass plus pretty much, right? That area is where you have to look into. And again, you have to look into that blob of space in the middle, okay? So passing, shooting, defending, we talked about. Dribbling. The dribbling stuff, here's why I have an issue with the dribbling, okay? It's the stuff where as people start to do the rat stuff, man. Like where it's like sometimes I'm playing the game and then I just face a guy who starts doing this. Like some sort of like R1 dribble where he's just doing this the whole time in like the middle, just with one player the whole time, blah 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 with the R1. It's the R1 and their L1, something like that stuff is cringy, right? Like if someone does it for such a long time, EA, like with me, bro, left stick is fine like this. This is cool, right? But EA, let's say I get to a certain point, I don't know if it should be that like. Because some people get a little bit ratty with the, like they just do it the entire time. They're just like in the middle like this. Boom, bum, 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 bum. I swear to God, they're not moving, right? But that one I'm not gonna fault you guys on. It's a little bit hard to kind of like, I guess like see where the cutoff would be for that. Like, would it be like, hey, Inception, like what if we did like 15 touches and the guy starts getting emphasized like crazy because he's being a little rat? Or what if we do a thing where it's like he's doing it for too long and then the defensive AI just pushes him like crazy? I don't know, something like that, right? But that's something that I'm willing to deal with. If I have to face a little ratty guy that just bum 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 and doing nothing with it, then hey, I'll deal with it. You know what I'm saying? No problem there. Some of the mechanics that I'm going to show you guys, because this elastical is crazy. I'm going to do this skill move tutorial. It might be the video before this or not, right? But this stuff, bro. Oh, hold up. I got to get the right players. Who is it again? Ah, it's Lamine. Okay. Well, yeah, it's any 5-star skills, I think. This one's crazy. That one's crazy. He does this, guys, with the strong foot or the weak foot. So if you're here, you can do that. They're pretty nuts, man, right? This one, look at this. Oh, hold on. So in order for this to work, you can't be running, right? You have to be jogging like this, and then crazy. Listen, a power strike working there too is a lower percentage strike, but it's good that he scores this. And then that's a contextual Trivella. For me to get consistency, EA, when I hold L trigger here, like I don't know if it's because you guys have a setting or something, but like the consistency of the strikes there is a little bit weird, right? Some of them. It's a consistency problem, not the actual command. It's the consistency of like what they choose to do that's like weird for me, right? But yeah, some of the skill move stuff is like obviously like that one's ridiculous. This one, being able to do this with the strong foot and the weak foot is crazy, but they want to add this. That's one of their mechanics this year. Then so be it, right? So you can see that you can do it with your left foot. Again, we will be doing the tutorial for this. And then you can do it with your right foot as well, which creates angles for both of the feet, which is insane, right? Because guys, if you do regular elasticals, you're going on the inside, right? Like this one over here, he's going on the outside, right? But you're bringing the ball on the inside. So it's easier for the defender to get the ball. But this skill move, you're going backwards and creating the space, So that one's going to be crazy. That's the new one this year that we'll talk about afterwards, right? So The ratty stuff is like the people doing like the spamming cancels. That stuff is trash. I hate that garbage with a passion. The player lock spams or player lock in general is trash. You yourself, EA, you're the one that just has to make good attacking AI, and the person playing the game just needs to react quickly and understanding which AI situations are going to push players out of positions, right? If you utilize the L1 flick, that is a very basic command, EA, right? You push them out of position from some of the AI situations and you can create space elsewhere. That's where the skill part comes. So not this player lock of BS, right? I know that some people will be against me when it comes to this mechanic, but I hate it. The reason why they added it in the past, because you guys are used to it, okay? You're used to it. That's why you like it. They added it in the past because they know that for the inception of the new gen version, since the inception of it, attacking AI was always garbage. Only up until last year's game in March, but then it didn't feel like it lasted that long anyways. Only until that point did we actually have like attacking AI. Like every other year there was none. It was the same 4-3-2-1 cutback garbage BS goals that I had to rant and fight it against you guys about. I have to go into Twitch streams and seeing people saying Inception's just complaining for no reason all the time. Do you guys want to play a football game and want to play brain dead? That's the question that I have for you, man. The stuff that I'm talking about in this video, are you against these things that I want you to do? Are you against these types of goals that if you score this against me, I can be more relieved? Like, oh, like I want to feel good about conceding a goal? Would you complain about conceding those goals that I deem like good? Utilizing space a certain way, seeing and reacting to attacking AI a certain way? That's where the skill should be, man. If I watch competitive FIFA and I see a guy just do cutbacks the entire time, or do these like crazy, I'm facing this way, but I can do a law pass in that direction type situations, because of last year, that mechanic still exists exists from last year. Bro, no, man. Reacting in the moment. Okay? Okay, so we talked about modes already. We talked about dribbling. We talked about defending. We talked about shooting. We talked about passing. We talked about everything. That's pretty much it. That's all I can really mention. I've talked about the optimization. I talked about the gameplay. That's it. Long video, very, very long video. But I need this. EA, put this on your projector if you need to, because I do still hate a lot of you guys. Because if you listened to me years ago about inconsistent gameplay, and you didn't look at me like I was an idiot, or be like, like you were stupid, right? You would have fixed that issue already a long time ago. But you need to fix that part, man. That part right there, because I know that the guys on console for sure deal with that part of your game way worse. Because the only reason why I can even say that this game is my favorite game to play since FIFA 15 is because I play on the PC. Because if I play on the look at the T-pose the camera guy is doing at the bottom. Oh my god, they both do T-poses. Look at the T-pose. Okay, that's pretty much it. Fix your glitches for the computer with the controller. Fix all that stuff. That's it. I've mentioned everything that I need to mention. I can't go to your studios and be like and force feed it to you, baby feed it to you. This year, you guys did an actual good job. I can enjoy this game this year. I can enjoy making content this year. I feel like I could play the game normally, but please look into the things that I'm talking about, and please add one more game mode. If they add a tournament mode like the World Cup, three rounds group stage, and then you go into the rounds afterwards, if they do that and I can use whatever I want, EA, you have such a good game this year, man. But it's gonna get to a point for people, again, it's like playing Marvel Rivals or CSGO, where it's like, if you only force this competitive stuff, like you guys, your definition of people doing that is going to play squad battles. Listen, I'm not against squad battles, because these types of games should always have that sort of like AI thing, right? Where it's like if you play Destiny, like you basically face AI to get the guns, all that kind of stuff. Sure, whatever, right? You have that as a mode, I understand. But don't make that the normal mode. Don't make draft the normal mode. Make a separate normal mode, please. One that does not have limitations, that doesn't have quantities. You guys will never convince me about foot champs. And hey, people are like, oh, but Inception with foot champs and result. Hey, if I play Division Rivals is sweatier than foot champs, boys. But that's how every other game is. You play the Division Rivals, okay? And then when you're done and you don't want to play competitive anymore, let's say you get to Division 3 or 2 right now, and it's like, oh my god, like I'm exhausted. Brother, where's the other mode to play? I'm gonna go play draft and I have to pay for it? If someone mentions classic match, bro, nobody ever searches for classic matches. Please, bro. You need an actual mode, guys. Okay? People have come into my stream and they're like, Inception, they finally added the tournament mode. You guys don't know what I'm talking about. That is one of the things that I was talking about, not the full thing. That's like 30% of what I was talking about, because I love the concept of a tournament mode, right? Where you use different teams. You're forced to use different teams. But there's a limitation to it. And I knew that it was going to be like that because I talked about that before the game came out. You guys know this, where I was looking at those modes and I'm like, if you do a limitation to this, you're ruining it. Okay? That mode, it's like, bro, just give me worse rewards. And then if I win a final and I already won it and the other guy that I'm facing hasn't, you know what you do to make it fun for people that are less skill-based? Just create a concept where it's like they don't lose because they lost to someone who's already won it already. But if they lost to someone who hasn't won it yet, then yeah, they get the loss. I'm thinking in a video game, in a video game sense. I've won the entry. Okay, eliminate the entries. I can still play it, right? But if I beat people in specific rounds, they don't lose. I'm saying that, but I don't fully believe in that specifically. If you want to have that mode and you want to restrict it, it's a shame. It is, because if I play on my content account, I'm gonna lose on purpose because I don't care about the rewards in the account. I just care about doing content. I'm gonna lose on purpose to be able to play that mode more, because if you create a mode, like I said, that has 8 Liga Tigers players and I could only play it up until the point I win and then I can't play anymore, that sucks, EA. Man, don't do that FOMO garbage, bro. It's like yo, I like, there's gonna be days where I'm like, yo, I just want to play with this team. I'm having fun with this team. I don't want to use another team. I like that the people that I'm playing against also have to use this team. That's the event part, man, that you created in your game. You created an event that's fun to play. All right, guys, we've had our fun. Let's go play Division Rivals and try to get Elite Division. That's the balance, okay? Guys, thank you for watching this video. Very long video. Very long. But I needed to mention every single aspect in this game. I needed to. This video needed to be made, okay? Because this is the first year where I'm not ranting. I'm more so discussing. Because you guys actually did core mechanic stuff that makes sense this year. For the first time in your life. But please fix some of these other things, man, because if I play the game and I'm playing Division Rivals and all I'm facing is park the bus counter, please, EA, okay, really look into that. It's a garbage play style. These goals, the goals that I'm scoring here, where it's all based on attacking AI and specific movements, that needs to be your focus. Okay, those attacking plays. And then, hey, if someone does like a skill move or they utilize skill moves properly, like, go, I'm gonna be doing a skill move tutorial, guys. There's a lot of new ones, right? Where there's like this one into the, I forget what it is. It's like this one into the Elastico. Yeah, that one, that's a new skill move, right? Where if you do like an L1 and then you do that, that's a new skill move where you can utilize space as well. We'll talk about those in the video. But just for now, okay, that's all I wanted to talk about. So just remember, guys, before we end the video, okay? Because of inconsistent gameplay still existing, and because most of you guys are still playing on console, because I'm only talking from a perspective of someone that had to do all of these changes just to be able to enjoy the game for the first time in like 10 plus years, right? I'm just letting you know the inconsistent gameplay part, if you're still dealing with that on console, which you probably are, the experience of delay could still be an issue. The experience of your defenders transitioning left and right, sliding too much, could still be an issue. What I think they removed from last year is that lag delay that existed last year. I couldn't even predict what that lag delay came from that existed last year. I'm pretty sure that part is probably removed now, right? And I do feel like that in comparison to last year's game, it probably feels better, right? But a lot of the issues that you're probably going to still have is the inconsistent gameplay part, because if you have good gameplay all the time, all these core mechanics are way more noticeable, okay? So just remember that. I had to do all this. Dual PC setup, 1440, 360, 240 hertz, or 240 FPS. I had to do all this just to get the game to be enjoyable for me. And this is where I'm scared about them touching PC optimization, because I think they would do a horrible job at it. Because it's been like this for such a long time, okay? For the console version, because I remember and dealt with that experience in the past, okay? That's where those sort of issues like delay, players feeling too sluggish, because the bad gameplay on the PC is not that bad, but players feeling too sluggish is an issue. Another thing that I do want to mention to EA as well is that I have noticed this when I streamed the other day. Your division rivals, I don't know if you guys use different servers for that than you do for draft or for the tournament mode that you created, but for some reason, the gameplay does feel a little worse in division rivals than it does in those other modes. I did feel that. I did. I was using like Klosterman normally in the cup. I was using Klosterman normally in like in the other modes. Well, in draft I didn't use Klosterman, but in Klosterman I was using him in the cup. Not a single time did he do an extra slide animation, extra emphasis animation slide from, like, when you're transitioning, like you're using the jockey. Bro, he did like, in this one Division Rivals game that I play, he did like 2 or 3 like super extra like animation push up to, like, it was crazy the slide that he did. I was like, bro, do I have to sell I was thinking, like, do I have to sell Klosterman, because why is he doing that? Because I didn't do it myself, right? Never happened once in tournament mode, but I played Rivals and he did it twice. But I felt it in the beginning of Rivals. I'm like, I could feel this one being worse. So if you're experiencing that on the console, that's going to be even, you know what I'm saying, boys? Like I said, I think they probably fixed the lag delay part, but the inconsistent gameplay part for the console version of the game, all of this discussion of the positives for your game, EA, is irrelevant if you do not fix that issue. That's why I still have genuine hatred for you guys in that sense, because if you listened to me years and years ago, look at how old this video is. This is where people go. If the forum still existed, I would tell you to go search the forums during this time, because it was FIFA 17 because I was originally a streamer, right? FIFA 17, my channel died because of me bringing up this issue and because of me not playing FUT Champs, because of how much I disagree with the mode, even though I performed well in it, okay? I still disagree with the concept of the mode. Channel died completely from, like, it was like averaging like 1,000, 1,200 views, which was amazing because gameplay was not the main meta of the game in those years. It was literally pack openings with coins all the time, right? And then look, it's a thing, my dudes. It's a thing. I didn't change this recently. This is 10 years ago. I have videos 9 years ago. My first visit to the studios, complete waste of time. This visit, they brought me to the studios. This was so stupid during this time period. They brought me to the studios, and what I did there for 98% of it was working on a mobile game. I don't even know why they invited me. It was the stupidest, dumbest visit I ever did, but this was the first one. And this is when when I had the chance where the guy's like, oh, we're gonna come in for gameplay now for the console version of the game, and I just like, you guys want to ask? Go ask Footwiz Dan. Go ask Foothead. He's not around anymore, but Foothead Dan. If I didn't go in on that one dude that went into that room talking about inconsistent gameplay, right? 9 years ago. This is I talked about this in the past with the book he wrote everything in, and I talked about this in the previous rant videos in the past, where I'm like, I don't know what you guys did with that book. You probably threw it in the trash once you were done writing all the stuff that I was telling you, right? I went to the studios on my third visit, the third one. The third visit, I didn't need these pitch notes for them to confirm that inconsistent gameplay was a thing. Me going to the EA studios on the third visit was for me to try to help them fix inconsistent gameplay. And this is when I told them that the test that you're doing right now makes no sense. It was here that I told them that you have to literally go to people. It was here that I met the dev that I messed with. I think it was this one, or it might have been a video right after this one. I'm pretty sure it was 6 years ago. And then he was added to the team 2 or 3 years before today, right? This is when I had the long conversation with him. And this is when he used to watch my stuff from back in the day, the rants and all that kind of stuff, right? So I had a great conversation with him. I messed with this guy heavy, right? Heavy. I had a great conversation with him, and he was not part. I don't think he was part of the gameplay dev team yet. And I out him out a little bit, you know. I'm just saying, because these other guys, when you guys come to my stream and you're like, yo, why Inception still talks about the other guys can go screw themselves, guys. You know what it's like to talk about this for 10 plus years and was made to look crazy for like basically 5 of those years? Being the guy in the last 5 years where people just came to me and they just think I complain because I'm just gonna hate the game every single year. No, it's because they consistently made poor gameplay decisions to make the game fun to play, to make it logical to enjoy. Okay? So this only happened because of FC25 being horrible, because if they still had the same success revenue-wise, it would never have changed. So that's why I don't care to have a good relationship with these people. The one guy, absolutely, but the rest of them, no, because I've seen them 3 different times in person, mentioned it 3 different times to them in person, and nothing. Okay? 6 years ago. 6. 10 initially talking about it. It was actually 11. But I never made a video like when it was 14, when I was talking about it during that time period. That's it. That's all there is to add. Honestly, if it wasn't for people on the internet having sheep mentality, like if I were to tell one person specifically to go F themselves, I would have. Oh, buddy, wow, man, if it wasn't for people just, because I know what's going to happen if I do. I know what's going to happen if I do. But if I could tell us one guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, more guys, all that's important nowadays is that it's not like I wasted life during those years, right? We got to a point with YouTube where I didn't have to stream. I created a YouTube channel that still gets views no matter what I post, which is fantastic. I'm down for that. Posting stuff that I actually want to post, right? And that's great. I'm good in that sense. I'm like you guys know, I'm like Jev. Like I don't care if it goes higher or lower, just I post whatever I want, and whatever it is, I'm okay with right now, you know? The most important thing, and this is only going to come across to the people that like genuinely watch me from a point of view where I genuinely wanted the game to be good. That is why we did the rants videos every single year, okay? So again, for the console guys, I'm still with you because you guys are the majority. I'm still with you, and I'm still mentioning the inconsistent gameplay because a lot of what I'm saying is irrelevant if they don't fix this issue. It's fantastic that you made a pitch notes for the first time in 10 plus years talking about how you actually do the proper tests nowadays, but what are you going to do to actually fix it? Because people deserve to play on the best version of your game all the time because of whatever net coding issue that you have, okay? Net coding, game coding, I don't know what it is. I don't work there, right? Whatever it is, intended or non-intended, you got to fix it. Because not everyone's going to share my opinion in this video because they're not experiencing what I'm experiencing because they don't have this crazy computer. They don't have a dual PC setup where they can only play on the computer while doing content. They don't have this. This is what I have to do as a content creator so that I don't lose my mind. I'm down, to be honest, because now that when I'm finished FC stuff, if I ever play other games, which I barely play now, I haven't played other games in not a long time, but in a minute, to be honest with you. I've been doing other things. But that's it. Those are old videos, man. Three different videos. I have that. Yo, that one with like That one I'm gonna show that video to people, because people sometimes I'm like really thing with food nowadays, because if I eat certain foods I break out like crazy. Like even now I broke out a little bit. I broke out now because I was dealing with so much stress trying to optimize a PC version of the game. I really was. It was so much stress. That's why I was breaking out a lot. But I fixed it now. So now I'm like calm. When I stream the game, I feel more relaxed. The only thing is that from a streaming perspective, EA just has to add one more game mode so that it's balanced for me to play all the modes. So I can play on one account and play it normally, and then the other account, I don't have to like do this cringe stuff where I have to maintain a division, so I can play the tournament. Or if I can play the tournament, I can only win 3 games. If I win the 4th, and I can't play it anymore. Like I have to do all this cringe stuff for the content accounts, basically, right? That's it. A long movie. It's a 2-hour video for you guys, but I've mentioned everything that I need to mention for them to fix the game. There's really not much else to talk about. What I want to say is that from a core gameplay perspective, for the people that worked on that, if you're not in charge of trying to fix this inconsistent gameplay issue, you guys did a lot of good things this year, right? Especially for a launch version of the game, you did a lot of good things, but it's going to be hard for a lot of people to see those things if they still deal with inconsistent gameplay, which they will more so. Not like I said, not the inconsistent gameplay on, because PC still gets it, but bad gameplay on the PC still feels pretty good. It's the first year for me where I'm playing on bad gameplay and it still feels decent to play. Not Rivals though. Rivals is a little tricky. It's really hard to defend in Rivals because they added that new jockey mechanic, and it's hard to jockey in Rivals because like the way they move, they overcommit like crazy. I'm like, bro, what's going on? Like sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they're doing it. And I'm like, yo, like I have to like steer a ship a little bit here, you know? But it's still enjoyable. Even though that happens, it's still enjoyable. So yeah, I'll catch you guys for next video, man. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. 2-hour video, but I hope the devs, I know one is gonna watch, but the rest of you guys, listen, take the video as an informational point of view. I still hate your guts, but take it as an informational point of view, okay? I do still hate your guts, though. I do. You took way too long. You wouldn't have done these changes if FC25 wasn't horrible. I know that for a fact, because you didn't care. You did this year, though. If you cared and you have the passion for it this year, and you like really cared about those specifics of the gameplay mechanics this year, I will forgive you 5%, because again, it's been too long. If it was like 3 years, 4 years, sure, 10 plus years is too much. So again, I have to repeat, guys, listen, I repeat myself because I it's this habit of people not listening to the full information, okay? Because I notice this a lot for the defensive stuff of the game the most, okay? So listen to what I'm telling you. The tackle animations is still the best that it's ever been in any of the games, period. I stand by that. I've even noticed it on the console. Where you guys are going to have issues right now is the way your players are going to behave against incisive pass or through pass, and that huge blob of space that exists in the middle of the pitch from counterattacks, right? And dealing with inconsistent gameplay on the console, because that will influence core mechanics in certain ways, okay? Sometimes it'll make defenders commit strangely, right? Sometimes it'll make your jockey way harder to do, where it's like you're trying to jockey normally, but then he overslides into a direction. Listen, I experienced that with Klosterman on PC 2 different times. I can imagine that when I play that on console on inconsistent gameplay, he does it more times, right? So EA, when you're taking advice from people, you can not only look at this game from a core gameplay mechanic perspective, because you don't have a normal video game yet. You still did not fix that issue. That issue affects a lot of people. If people on console played on the best version of your gameplay consistently, a lot of the complaints that they would make would be invalid. But if some people are talking about the defense manually wise, not defensive AI, if you see some defensive AI stuff, the only defensive AI stuff that I can agree with you guys on, in some situations, not all, some, is sometimes your player's positioning to put people on side is moronic. But some of them, like some of the examples I showed you today where the guy is pushing the center back there and it keeps certain players on side, or, you know, if I'm committing the side, the fullback still kind of, he has to transition back into the area slowly. That stuff is normal. That's your fault. But there are moments where I'm noticing, like you guys, the offside parts, the staying on the line, sometimes like it kind of helps the other person. And it's funny because I literally mentioned that before I even play the game, where sometimes the movement in that line is giving the person the attacking space that doesn't make sense to give them, because why is my fullback going backwards here when he has nothing to do with the play, but now he's going to put players on side? So that part, yes. Defensive AI being improved in the sense of like AI doing stuff for you, that stuff, no, yeah. Like the manual stuff is what you have to look into, right? The tackling is better to work with. But again, be very careful when you take advice from people on the console version of this game, because they are playing different gameplays. We play on the different gameplay on the PC, but we can give more of a concrete thing of what the game core mechanics are. But you need to fix that issue, okay? It's hard for me to make these types of videos and to talk about your core mechanics because not everyone's going to experience that. From a responsiveness perspective, from a smoothness perspective, okay? I know for a fact that people are not going to make it this far. They're going to get to the defensive point of the video. They're going to hear what I said about this year's game and how the defensive animations are the best, because they are, right? And they're going to be like, well, Inception's full of it. No, I know what inconsistent gameplay is. I know that it affects attacking AI. I know that it affects defensive AI. I know that it affects your jockey. I know that it affects everything. The way your passes come off. So your focus needs to be, especially for this year's game, because you actually have good core mechanic stuff this time, finally. You have to focus on fixing that issue. Another year of this is crazy, EA. Great that you acknowledge it, but I will never stop having a deep hatred towards you guys for not fixing it. I don't know what you're waiting for. Great, you acknowledge it. The issue exists nowhere else. These 3 games that I just tested, I don't have to deal with that there. If I played Fortnite on my PlayStation 5 right now, what's the difference of that between that and the PC? Like, sure, maybe the game looks better on the PC. Even if I have everything on low, it still looks better than the console. But if I'm playing at 120 FPS and I'm just good at the game, I'm still going to be able to cook people on PC. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with Call of Duty. I have a friend who plays Call of Duty. And again, I haven't played Call of Duty in like probably over a year. That was like the first time I played Call of Duty in over a year. I have a friend that plays Call of Duty that's nasty at the game. You know where he plays on? He plays on the PC. Or he plays on the console. Regular PlayStation, doesn't even have a gaming monitor, just plays on a TV. I think it's like 42 inches or something like that. Not even a 0 millisecond, nothing. And he still dominates because those games let you do that. Okay? That's pretty much it. I try to bring up everything I can. Again, from a core mechanic perspective, it's hard to judge absolutely everything because people are not dealing with the same circumstances. But I stand by everything I said in this video for my experience, and this is the billionth time I mentioned it. And people, guys, I'm telling you, you know how many times I do this in a video, and then I'll still go into the comment section, and they'll still say that I said something that I didn't say. 1440, 360, 240, okay? If I play on the console, I probably would lose my mind, because I know I have in the past. Pretty much it. That's what you have to look at, EA. That's the only, honestly, like, I think what I said in this video is very fair. Very, very fair. Because some of the things that you guys got down is fine. But that part is going to make people think differently. That inconsistent gameplay, man, I'm telling you, it's going to make people think differently if you don't fix that issue. Then, you know, last but not least, stuff that EA needs to look out for. Some FC gimmick mechanic stuff like this, where, listen, this can go through the process of like seeing what's good and bad. Like, this is the type of thing that, like, when millions of players play, they're gonna find some of the dumb stuff like this, right? Like, oh, boom, boom, full pass on a lob, advantage attacker, right? So just stuff like that. You guys will see. I know the devs take a look at stuff like that. I don't expect you guys to be 100% with stuff like this. Like, when millions of people play your game, and you, like, it's the same thing as like last year when it was the 180 power shots, right? That I probably expected you guys to actually see. With stuff like this, yeah, doing like a full-time lob pass from a first-time pass, like, you gotta take a look at that stuff, right? So, yeah. All right. Peace out. Pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys for the next one, okay? Peace out, dudes. Love you guys. I'll probably do this video today because Zubimendi's kind of expensive, and I need to get a content account because I don't have that going yet. I should have it a couple days from now. or hopefully by tomorrow. We'll see.